Hey guys, welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Tape. Pretty stoked in this episode. It's a long one, it's a funny one, and the guests are amazing. Before we move on too far, let's chat about some sponsors. On this podcast, of course, Canyon has been a major sponsor for this podcast for the last year or so. They're absolutely killing it at the moment with all of their bikes. There might be a little bit of an issue with stock, but that's just because they're so damn popular. I've been eyeing off a Sender CFR for a long time now. Not that I need a big bike or can afford one, but just the adjustability, the speed, and the way that damn thing looks has got me intrigued, to say the least. So hopefully I'll be able to get on one of them soon. If you're keen on a bike from those guys, jump over to canyon.com and have a look now. If you've got any questions, make sure you ask the service team, who are actually in Melbourne, so you get super quick replies. Get an Aussie guy that understands all the riding terrain, and they'll be able to help you out amazingly. If you're looking for some sweet new hubs to go on your new rig, hit up Factor at 2Up Bike Co. Those guys do some amazing looking hubs with amazing points of engagement, and they're absolutely a killer option. And if you want to keep them things running smooth, use some Dimonte lube and grease from the same company, 2Up Bike Co. If you can't get a hold of them themselves, hit up your local bike shop and get them to hit up 2Up Bike Co, because they're all about supporting the local shops too. Franked have come on board for 2021. Lightweight jersey, excellent sizing, cool colorways, and they're bringing out some pants which I'm really keen on. If they're anything like the jerseys, they're going to be absolutely ripper. Loving how light those things are. Can't say enough how good they are. Use Beyond the Tape to go and get 10% from those guys. We've also got Dirt Surfer on board as well. Beyond the Tape will get you 15% off of any of their current designs. And if you're looking for something a bit different for your race or for your company or whatever, they do fully custom designs, fully custom graphics, everything you need to get those running well and looking good on your bike. Use Beyond the Tape, as I said, for 15% over there. NSDynamics have also been a supporter from day dot. I knew that being Australian, having good service, and being able to make my forks better than ever there's no other reason why they shouldn't come on board as a sponsor, and as I want them on board. Just their quality of product is next level. So if you want to get your bike feeling better than new, tracking the ground better than ever, hit up Aaron and the boys at NSDynamics via email, and they'll be able to get you sorted and custom tune your bike to feel better than ever. Lastly, again, another bit of a new one. Figured it's probably more relevant for this episode, considering it's a bit of a dude fest. We've got Manscaped on board. They have the new lawnmower, which has just been released in Australia, featuring ceramic cutting blades, absolutely mental RPM when it comes to cutting, fully washable, fully serviceable parts, and it's also got a LED light so you can party to your heart's content with your razor. Switch those lights off in the bathroom, set some trance up, and get trimming. Getting smooth down there, manscaping, it's not something I have done much of in the past. In fact, I was once asked to be an extra on Gorillas in the Mist, where all the other extras were gorillas. Wasn't sure if I should be insulted or inspired. Anyway, use Beyond the Tape to go get 20% off of any of their amazing products. I've currently been testing their lawnmower, some of their crop reviver, and their other deodorants, moisturizers, I guess ball polishers. Not sure what to call them. Anyway, amazing products. Jump over to manscaped.com and use Beyond the Tape to get 20% off. As usual, this intro is running long, so let's get into the guests. Well, since the last one was so popular, we thought we'd do another. Jai and Baxter have come on board again. We've got 2.5 hours here of absolute shit talking. Can't say what's in it because I've absolutely forgotten. Enjoy the podcast. And as usual, grab a beer, grab a water, grab a wine while you listen.
The output's like how loud my mic is. Let's turn the headphones up. Try that again.
How was your day, Jai?
Oh, that's way better. Yeah, sick. Yeah.
Maybe my mic is not very loud.
No, I think my headphones were turned down quite loud. Quite quiet. Yeah. But
Quite loud, yeah.
Quite loud.
Have you upgraded your mic there, Baxter?
Me?
Yeah.
I've got new headphones this time.
Ooh.
It does look flash. Have you got your iPad plugged in this time?
The Bluetooth. No, I'm not even. I'm using. I wish I could show you. I'm using my phone so that I can have it charging, so that I can use these earphones.
Oh my god, that's good though, man.
So
I'm proud of you.
we're not going flat this time. We're not going flat.
Yeah, perfect. Well,
I
that's
love
good.
the
So
vertical video too. It's good.
yeah, so we got that's actually pretty annoying for editing, Baxter. In case you didn't know, I don't know if you're really familiar with videography and stuff like that, but it's really difficult when you do that.
What do you mean?
Well,
No,
you're
it's fine.
vertical, and we're gonna do a thing, and we
Oh,
like
okay.
take it.
I can swap out. I can put myself horizontal.
So now it's gonna fuck everything out for Darren because we've already started recording, and now he's gonna have to flip the video
Nice.
halfway through.
This is all staying in.
Surely that's easier.
It does look better. It looks like you're on a laptop now.
Looks like you're fully
Well, you
through.
can start when you start me off. I'll just be facing this way, and then once we get in a little bit, it'll be all good.
No, that's perfect.
But well, it doesn't look like it makes a difference from my end because both of you guys are just squares.
No, you look like a good rectangle now, like not a bad rectangle.
Oh man, I don't want to be a bad rectangle.
Yeah, no, you're like SpongeBob. You're good rectangle.
Isn't
Yeah.
SpongeBob square?
Yeah. Square fence.
You started off strong, Joe.
Here we go, suspension story all over again.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
So to answer your question, yeah, my day was actually pretty good. It was a Friday, so that was good. But if we're actually have we legitimately started the podcast now, Darren? Are we in? Is this recording?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
recording straight from the get-go.
Yo.
Oh shit! No,
So-
no time to set up or nothing. Just boom, straight in there.
We've been sitting up for ages while we're waiting for you to get ready, Baxter.
Oh, come off it. Look at your outfit. You're the one that's been holding us up.
Oh, come on, you gotta look good. You came in a fucking ripped off shirt. You look terrible.
Yeah.
Be a little bit more presentable for interviews, bro.
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So touching on the fact that you asked me how my day was, I wanted to touch back on the last podcast that we did, where I was talking about, my job as a trail builder and moving dirt and all that sort of stuff, and my dad jokingly saying, "Oh, that's great. You'll be able to get into earthworks and all that sort of stuff." And I said, "I never want to fucking do that in my life." So I'm currently doing that for my job now.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Just helping out a civil company. Doing a little bit of excavation and stuff with them while we're waiting on some approvals for some jobs over here in Queenstown. Rest of the crew's all up in Nelson, building some sick stuff up there. And I had been just chilling with my broken collarbone for ages, so they all went up. And then by the time I was healed, everyone was kind of gone, and it was just me left. But luckily, a friend of my boss's had some work going for an operator, so I jumped on board with them and started doing a bit of civil work, which has been a good kind of change, I guess, to mix things up a little bit. But
Which bit have you been enjoying most, like the 14-hour days or the monotonous dirt moving?
I guess for me it's kind of learning new stuff, because I've only ever, as a machine operator, only ever really built trails. I've never done anything other than that. So it's kind of learning stuff that's completely different and dealing with property managers that have no idea what they're talking about. Not property managers, sorry. Now going blank. Project managers, sorry. Yeah, dealing with project managers that aren't really too sure about. Well, no, maybe they're sure about what they're doing because their job is to cut costs, but our job is to do our work, and they're trying to find quicker ways for us to do things. That's been an interesting kind of thing. But then also kind of somehow ended up finding some time to go build some jumps in someone's backyard, or stack up a landing, I should say. I haven't built any jumps. I just stacked up a big landing at a mate's place, because a machine was sitting there waiting for the projects that we were going to go on to get the go-ahead. So we're like, we might as well make the most of it. So that's been pretty sick. Only about 5 minutes down the road from my place, so I'm pretty keen to get out there and test that out, which would be pretty sweet. So that's how my day was.
You did all that just today.
That's
No,
a
that's
long
just
day,
good. That's a
man.
roundabout kind of thing. Today was a bit of a C word of a day, but it was Friday, so I was in a good mood.
You had some VBs on site, I heard.
Not on site when we got home, but
Uh,
yeah. What was it? Oh yeah, so they got a pretty good rule. If you fuck up at work, you owe a box kind of thing, and it goes on the whiteboard. You got a tick next to your name. And I was really pumped because normally I am kind of the guy that makes mistakes and fucks things up, but I was doing really well and hadn't made a fuck up. And then when I was building that jump, I rolled a stump back into the 14-ton digger and bent one of the safety bars that like protect the window. I was like, I told them straight up. I'm like, yeah, I did that. They're like, yo, that's a box. Turns out in New Zealand, a box is only 12 beers, not 24, as it is in Australia. But I fucked that up, and today I bought 24 VBs, and they were not happy. Like, they're not pumped. Like, honestly, in New Zealand, anything Australian, Kiwis fucking hate. Like, hate. They hate Aussies with a passion. And, I bought these VBs, and honestly, only one guy grabbed a VB at the end of the day, because like, I'm not fucking drinking that shit. So anyway, that was what my afternoon entailed. A couple of VBs because of my fuck ups.
Jai, just rewinding a little bit to the rolling a stump into the window.
Yeah, how's that happen?
Doesn't seem to be the first time you've done that. If I'm correct.
I tried keeping that one under the wraps so everyone that fucking knew about that. But that one was a bad one. That was like my first time operating a big machine, the 20-tonner, and pulling out some massive pine trees. And I had 2 hours to try and do like half a day's worth of work, and popped a stump up out under pressure and rolled it straight back into the digger. The stump actually stopped before it hit the digger, but one of the roots flicked up and smashed the window beneath me. So that was a bit upsetting. But yeah, so it turns out I'm not really great at rolling stumps.
You nearly got that machine driven through a specific school.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Holy shit.
But
let's go to the pub.
Yeah, we'll just say that I got myself into a little bit of strife with that one, and people weren't too happy because that wasn't really the only damage to that machine. I'm glad that I kind of learnt my lessons from a lot of those things. I still rolled a stump into the fucking digger, but I'm a lot more cautious as to my surroundings.
You got the window fixed?
I did, yeah, but I may have forgotten to clean the glass out from the cabin.
That's probably the damage.
Oh well, at least I can own up to my mistakes. Oh well.
How's your day been, Darren? What have you been up to?
Just on machinery stuff, though. Do you guys follow Kano Photo on Instagram? Yeah. Did you see that story he put up yesterday?
No.
So he's just rolling up like a fire road at Eagle on the Hill, and he's met some guys like grading the road and stuff, and just pans across, and there's one of those rollers, like big machine rollers, just down the side of the cliff.
Yo.
Brutal.
Is it still up?
Brutal.
I don't know, man, but it's pretty
hectic.
Where did you go, Darren? You've disappeared off my screen.
He's still here on my screen.
Oh, alright. Sweet.
Is he back?
No, I'm only looking at Jai.
Haha, nice view.
Your video's dropped off.
Oh, it might be like a bandwidth thing. I'm recording myself, so it doesn't really matter. But my day has been good. I've been sitting in an office chair since 8:30.
Sorry, I just saw the roller.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, hey?
That's insane. So yeah, go on. Yeah, that was pretty savage.
I've just been sitting in my office chair all day. It's a bit different to you guys. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
it's good.
So not really. We're kind of just sitting in an office chair all day. It's just we're going like this while we're doing it.
Speak for yourself. I was on the hand tools today. I was shoveling some stuff and raking some stuff and driving a power barrow.
Ooh.
Yeah, wheelbarrows are useless.
Yeah, wheelbarrows are a thing of the past.
Darren, I've been meaning to ask you. I'm just going to put you on full screen so I can see things a little bit clearer. Oh, that's much better. Have you started your new job? Has your new job been announced? Because I feel like we've talked about it in private, but I don't know. Is it official? Are you working there? Can we talk about it or not?
I definitely have a new job. Yeah, I can't talk about it because of certain conflicts.
Oh, you're gonna need to tell me this off air. I don't even know about this.
Oh, real?
Sure you did. It was in our group chat.
I'm pretty sure it was in the group chat.
You're back. I got a video of you again. But,
should I not look that up? either. Oh, okay, yeah, I understand now. Yeah. I'm caught on. Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
So
moving on.
yeah. That's a side hustle anyway. This is the main thing.
just yeah. It only brings in like 1,000% more money than this. So yeah,
really?
good side hustle.
Yeah, that's a real good side hustle.
New jobs, man.
While we're talking about new things,
You got a few new things on the go.
I'm not talking about me. I'm still talking about you. I don't know how much we're actually allowed to talk about on air. I feel like we should clarify these things before we jump into a podcast.
That's good.
Your new sponsor that we talked about recently in the last couple of weeks, and then I brought it up again in chat today. Is that official? Has that started?
New sponsor.
New sponsor for the podcast?
You know, the one keeps things clean and trimmed up.
That will be. Yeah.
Is that going to be like a sponsor of this podcast? Can we talk about it?
Yeah, Manscaped is going to be. Yeah, they started. Well, I did another episode last night, so that'll be the first one with them on board. Yeah.
Sick.
So that's pretty sick.
Manscaped. Very cool. Oh, pumped on that.
Looks like you could use some.
100. Me?
Around the top lip. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Man, I cleaned up for this one. I was actually talking to my girlfriend about it yesterday. I was like, I think I'm gonna buy some. Like, it looks fucking mean. I was doing a bunch of research, and I was like, it looks good. I think I'm gonna get like, the proper razor blade and like clean things up. I'm stoked. So yeah, that'll be sick. And yeah, it probably would have been in my head if we weren't talking about it the other day. And then I was like, you know what? I think they do some pretty cool shit. So I'm keen. That's gonna be sick.
Like, if I'm honest,
and what's the promo code again?
Promo code is just Beyond the Tape. Capitals. Thanks. Jai is a sponsor's dream. Yeah, I was surprised. Like, I didn't know who they were. Like, really. Yeah. Like, I just heard it on all the podcasts and stuff. But I was the same as you, man. And I looked at it. I'm like, oh, this stuff's pretty sick. So, yeah. They sent me out a little package for my package. And, yeah, it's good.
Oh, stoked on that. It's very cool.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with it, man. It's good. And Jace from Gypsy Tales has been working with them a bit. So, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that's sick. Oh, good shit. No, pumped for you. That's fucking radical.
Yeah, it's been a big month. Big, a few weeks. It's been sick.
Yeah, sick. What else has been happening in everyone else's world?
I'm up in Wollongong at the moment, getting some sunshine.
Yeah.
Building some jump roads, yeah. Get out of the Tassie cold for a little bit, which has been nice.
Yeah. Are you doing work with Dirt Art up there, or who are you working with up there?
Still Dirt Art. Frenchie's offered me a full-time gig down in Medina, so once I get back from this little stint, I'll be down there for a fair while, it looks like. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
Sick.
Yeah, which hopefully we can get some cool things happening. And I think one of the big priorities is to build a better cross-country course for national champs next year.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to love the downhill track, but I've spoken to some cross-country riders and we've had some great feedback.
Okay. Was it? I haven't really watched any of the stuff from the cross-country. What was the course like?
Apparently it was not technical enough, and it was just flat out like too steep. They said like the only reason that it was hard was just because it was like almost unrideably steep, and then and then it rained on race day, so they were like rain, fresh track in spots, and like where it wasn't fresh track, it was hard pack. So there were a lot of sections that were like, let alone being unrideable, they were like nearly unwalkable. So the weather made it worse than it was, but we had good weather for practice all week, so like they still got a good idea of what the track would have been like if the weather was nice, and I think it was still not quite there. But given how rushed we were to build it, I think like we did the best that we could. With a bit more time this year, we should be able to put something real good together. I'm going to try and get as much feedback from cross country riders as possible, because obviously I've never done a cross country race in my life, so I've got no idea what they want.
Yeah, it's interesting because like I did that the Commonwealth Games cross country course with Rennie up on the Gold Coast, and that was interesting for me as well because I had no idea what to do. And then I called Burner, Clint Turner, for anyone that doesn't know his name, but he was a trail builder at Dirt Art as well at the time, and like real keen cross country rider. I think they were all out doing shuttles, and he just refused to get on the shuttle and was just like pedaling up the access road and then riding back down it instead of doing shuttles like everyone else was because he just fucking loves climbing.
Man, isn't
Hey?
He's a madman.
Oh, yeah. But I remember I was like calling him constantly, like just trying to get some feedback and stuff on what to build. Yeah. And then he was basically saying is like it's kind of like a downhill track where you still want to have a line, like, to ride. Like you can't just make it, janky and techie and just let them figure it out. Because that was what my plan was. I was just going to make it techie as fuck and just let them figure it out. And they're like, you still got to have lines, whether it's up or down. That's like, the main line. And then, if there's something sneaky, they might figure it out. But majority of them, it's, it's more about just getting to the top as quick as possible in the best way on that main line. But yeah, it's still like, it's pretty tricky to try and build stuff that you don't, go out of your way to ride or anything like that. Because you can't really put yourself in that position of how it is. Like, I'm one of the least fit people to be able to try and ride up an XC course. I didn't get a lap around that loop. Like, I tried getting up the climb once, and I was just like, well, maybe more than once, because I had a couple of cracks at trying to get up past this one ledge, and I was like, fuck, I can't ride up this. But I'm like, this is going to be the best cross-country riders in the world. And so fuck them, they can figure it out. But yeah. It's not an easy build trying to do something that you don't really know what you're doing. So yeah, it's tricky. But yeah, it's sick taking on the feedback and stuff and going from there.
Yeah, I think like we need to maybe make the climbs like slightly longer so that we can take some grade out of them, but actually put like some technical features in, and then maybe flatten out the descents a little bit as well and make them a little bit more technical. Whereas like, because we went down a trail called Tinder, which if anyone's been to Medina, is like it's steep, but that's kind of like the only reason that it's difficult is like it's not overly technical for the most part. So if we can put some more technical descending down without it being hard simply because it's steep, I think we should have a bit more of a winner.
I remember actually seeing that now that you've mentioned it. I remember seeing that it was announced that Tinder was going to be on the cross-country course, and I said to Dylan Shea, for Darren and whoever else that doesn't know, so Dylan Shea is my housemate and now works with me at Elevate, and Dylan and I first met when we were working on Medina together. He was one of the initial builders of Medina, and he's just insane on the hand tools, one of the best trail builders I've ever worked with, and I fucking said to him, I was like, dude, they're going to send the XC guys down Tinder. And he's like, holy shit. Like, that's going to be gnarly.
Yeah.
There's definitely a gnarly cross-country course.
I think it ended up being, after that first day of practice, we changed it, and it was only UCI categories that had to go up that far. And then down Tinder, we cut the course a little bit short for the rest of the categories. Because, like, seeing an under 15 kid down Tinder with, like, a cross-country hardtail, you're asking to kill someone, I think.
Even on a short trail bike, like, it's pretty sketchy going down that, like, let alone going down an XC bike. It's definitely adding some difficulty. What was the steepness like on the cross-country course compared to the downhill course?
Like average grade, I couldn't tell you at all, but I would say like the steepest sections of the cross-country course were like pretty close to being as steep as like some of the steep sections on the downhill course.
Yo, that's sick.
And like, there's like this kind of rock feature. It's not really a rock feature. Like, it scoots down on like a narrow bench next to a cliff, like at the top of Tinder. And they were like, apparently like grown men at the top of that chute, just being like, nah, I'm not riding down that. Yeah, no way. And then you get like chicks like Zoe Carpet and stuff just like shredding down it. It was sick. Yeah.
That's mean.
The downhill track got a pretty good like review for a flow track. Like, people were stoked on it.
Yeah, I think for a flow track it had like actually a fair few lines.
Sick.
I've never ridden a flow track where my arms hurt so much at the bottom, but the jumps.
Have you not ridden A-line with all those braking bumps?
Yeah, actually, it was probably smoother than A-line, to be honest. It's smoother than A-line. It's smoother than A-line the week after Crankworks.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But all in all, like national champs was like sick vibe. It was fucking rad to like see all the jams going down on the dirt jumps and everything as well. Like just a really cool kind of like unique vibe for national champs, because national champs has always been like pretty cool for having so many different events going on and being a bit more of like a, I guess, mountain bikers vibe compared to the rest of the national rounds. But having the dirt jumps and all that sort of stuff there, and then like the bar down at the bottom of Medina and food and everything like that, it would have been a pretty sick venue to be able to host everything being so centralized. How did that all like pan out?
It was the best national champs that we've had, I reckon. Like, aside from the rain on Saturday, we couldn't have had any better weather. And just, I think part of it also was that everyone's been locked down for like, the better part of a year, pretty much, well, since last national champs. So everyone was just like ecstatic to be at an event again, and like so cool to see your friends from interstate that you haven't seen for literally like 12 months. And like, yeah, Reese and that did a fucking amazing job of putting that on. Like, sick. I don't think that anyone understands. Like, you might think that you know what goes into running an event, but like, I thought I knew. I was like, yeah, it's hard to run an event, whatever. But then, like, seeing firsthand how much work Reese and Frenchie and all of the team at Medina were putting in was like pretty fucking eye-opening. It's crazy the amount of shit that they've got to do.
And French was like working all the way up until like that last person was down the hill. Like it's insane.
Yeah. It was a massive team effort, but there's definitely guys that stand out that were like just on the limiter for like 2 months straight.
Yeah, dude. Like,
I think the best was like seeing RF photography falling asleep at the Elite Men XC start line, like leaning up against a pole, and he was just falling asleep.
I wish I saw that.
It was epic. It was next level.
That was really awesome. Yeah, the RF definitely stepped into a lot of roles that he's not there to do. He was just like, he's one of those awesome people that will just like see someone that needs help and just drop whatever he's doing. That's not important. I'm going to go help that guy. So, yeah, it's pretty cool having people like that around you. That makes you want to kind of like work hard and do the best you can. So, like the trail crew killed it as well. We were working up until the day of, and then a few of us were like working, during practice on Wednesday. I had to go get in the machine and change a jump, and then Lee and Jacob put their hands up to go like rake the downhill course on Thursday morning. So yeah, it was a sick event, and everyone killed it.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Mean. And yet, like 100%, I have to take my hat off to Frenchie. Like, he's definitely copped some shit along the fucking road, and just the stuff he is doing for the sport in Australia is insane. And he is pushing the boundaries like everywhere he can and trying to produce the best he can for mountain biking right now. And it's fucking sick to see. And, to see him pull that event off and everything is insane. So shout out Frenchie. Thank you for all your hard work and fucking keeping the dream alive. It's sick. And we really all appreciate it. It's sick.
It was good to have, like, even from like an industry point of view, like all the crew were there and like everyone's just having beers, and it was sick. Like from a behind the scenes type of vibe, it was so good, even outside of the racing, which is pretty rare at a race, really.
Yeah, it was cool to have like so many bike brands there and so many people setting up. Like, I swear, like usually nationals where you've got SRAM, you might have Giant when they had a team, or like Canyon might have a tent, and that's sort of it for like big industry guys. Whereas what we have, like so many people at national champs that were all set up, like pits were just going off.
Sick.
Yeah, I think like, what was it, like Crush, that shingleback like truck, which was sick. Two up.
Yeah, that's
Trek were there. SRAM obviously, and then Intense. And then the Fox brand manager was kicking around. Canyon brand manager was kicking around. Like, it was just everyone. JT from Revo was there. Like, it was sick.
That's fucking me.
Yeah. I don't know whether it was like that there was actually an abnormal amount of people and industry people there, or whether it just kind of felt like that because there'd been absolutely nothing.
Yeah, true.
The year before, but whichever one it was, like it was one to remember for sure, and hopefully next year it can only get better.
That's so. How many years is it going to be at Medina for? Did they lock it in like a certain year amount of contract, or like?
I believe the contract was. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it was 2, with the potential for a 3rd, depending on how it went. So
that's generally the standard rule, I think, with national champs. So
unless you're Bright, but
it was generally well, I think Bright just signed multiple 3-year contracts.
Yeah, okay.
Where else? Like everyone loves going to Bright, and it was a sick venue until the track was, 6 years old with little maintenance.
Yeah.
I went to that Pineapple Express event that Blue Dirt put on my way up here to Wollongong, and did like one run of the Mystic track on my downhill bike, and got 3/4 of the way down and just landed on like a huge pointy rock and exploded my rim and tire, and was like, that's not that fun. Like, it's started that track now.
Savage.
Yeah.
Did you, out of curiosity, because I haven't spoken to anyone in a while, have you been down Shred Kelly lately? Like while you were there?
Yeah, we did a lap. Oh, we did a pedal lap in the morning, and then where we rode the All Mountain Trail and then World Cup, and then pedaled across and went down something else, and then pedaled back across and did just the bottom of Shred Kelly though.
Oh, okay. Was it holding up all, G?
The last section was pretty good. There's a couple of holes and some turns, and like those last few big jumps have got a lot of exposed rock now, but like it's still road fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything further up. Apparently the middle section, the kind of flatter section, has bare holes in it now, and I couldn't really imagine that. Couldn't imagine the first section would have much in it, because it's pretty straight and there's minimal break.
Yeah. No, that's sweet.
But you were also on the podium at Nationals, even though you're doing all that work.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Little podium from Baxter.
Podium boy Baxter, but still can't go to world champ. I still can't go to world champs.
I know. Should have gone into an Olympic sport.
Yeah, I should have. I moved up a spot from last year, which I was pretty happy with. If I keep going like this, it'll be 3 years and I should win.
Yeah. So how much travel did you go up from the year before? 20 mil?
Yeah, 20 mil, yeah. No, a bit more. 30 mil.
30 mil. So what are you going to ride next year then?
I'm going to ride Monster Truck.
She's got Bender's old RPL coming in.
Talk us through the run anyway, because I talked to you about this and stuff, and then I actually never even talked to you really about your run. How was it?
It could have been better, to be honest. I think I didn't listen to Mick Williams on his podcast enough when he explained explained what did he call it, like the arousal whatever.
The arousal state.
What's it called actually?
The arousal
state. Yeah. Arousal curve.
I didn't listen to him properly, I guess, and I fucking peaked at the wrong time. I was like at a 15 while I was sitting in the gate, just like, whoa, let's go, and just like dropped into and just absolutely cooked the whole court, like first. And for anyone who was there and knows the track, there's like that awkward stump thing that you go through, and then there's like the first main long off camber, and at the start of that there's like a tiny little like ledge that you need to get on the inside. Everything from the start line to that little ledge I absolutely fucked. Like I was just pedaling in places I'd never pedaled before, just like blowing out turns, like just riding on the limiter when I didn't need to. And then I got to that little ledge, nearly fell off it, and then like started going down that off camera, and just like took a few deep breaths and was like, right, calm the fuck down, stop being an idiot. And then from there to the bottom, my run was like pretty much mint. But if I had peaked at the right time with my excitement levels, I think I could have ridden the top section better, but who knows like how much difference it would have actually made. Maybe it would have been that 0.6 to get in front of Dean and Booker and be second, but I'm super
Is that what it
happy.
was? It's 0.6 between second and fourth?
Yeah.
Yo!
And 6 seconds to Troy?
Yeah, Troy was 6 seconds in front of Booker, and then Dan, Dean, and myself were on the same half a second pretty much. So
jeez.
It was pretty close. And then I think it was like 3 or 4 seconds maybe back to Luke Smith, who was in 5th.
Yep. So, sick, dude.
Yeah. I was like pretty blown away. When I come down and I was in the hot seat, I was like, I was sort of expecting it because like you always want to try and, because of the way that seating goes from like slowest to fastest, like you would hope that you're in the hot seat when you come down. And
I reckon that's only happened to me once, but go on.
When I was like just watching people come down and like my time was holding, I was just, I was freaking out. And then I was like doing the numbers and I was like, holy fuck, I'm like going to be on the podium again. So, 1 up from last year. I couldn't be happier very much.
Seating was like a whole different thing though, because it was raining so hard. Like you had no idea where you stood.
Yeah, I had like my confidence. That's probably the other way that I could have ridden better, I suppose, was like my confidence got knocked pretty hard on the Saturday, just like being out the arse sort of thing. Because I had a crash in first run practice on Saturday, and then in my seeding run, I crashed in the exact same spot doing the exact same thing. So good to see I learnt my lesson. So that kind of like knocked me pretty hard, and I like hurt my shoulder a little bit. Shout out to John Kingston, the magic physio, who's now training me as well. He did some last minute magic on my shoulder between practice and racing on Sunday, and I think that was like the last little tick that I needed. Like I was not very stoked in morning practice. I was kind of like a bit down, a bit sore, and not riding with much confidence. And then he kind of like sort of like did some magic on my shoulder, and I kind of got up and I was like, oh, yeah, that feels pretty good. And then all of a sudden it was like a switch. I was like stoked, ready to go. So yeah,
that's sick.
You got out of those crashes pretty easily. Like they could have been much worse where you crashed.
Yeah, they could have been real bad. But luckily we built the track, and I knew where you could fall.
Dodge the trees as you're coming through.
Yeah, I was like coming in and like just got buck wild, and was like, well, I know that's like an exit route, so I'll just track into the bushes in the same spot.
What was if you know, like what was like the accident rate in Medina? Like were there many injuries and stuff like that over the race weekend? Darren's shaking his head, so I'm gonna guess there wasn't too much.
There was more than I thought. So Beck, who is the head medic at Medina, and good friend of mine, her and I kind of were discussing like a few access points and that kind of thing for the downhill track specifically. And then we kind of like brainstormed the idea of putting the medic tent like tucked away and out of sight, I suppose. Because like the worst thing that you want to, like, it's the worst thing like during practice is like walking past the medical tent and just seeing kids in there fucking broken fists, or like if
I wouldn't even thought about that.
Just like coming constantly. So we put it kind of out of the way a bit, and it butted onto like a Jai, remember that street that like comes in to where Homewood is, like that grass area? It's just like a dead end street. And there's that dude that lives on the corner that's like always checking out what we're doing.
Yep.
The medic tent is pretty much at the end of that street.
Oh, okay.
So
Right.
any ambulances that came just drove down that street instead of like actually into the bike park.
Yeah,
and then
sick.
if the buggies needed to go out, they just went from there straight up the hill. So like you didn't really see any of it. So like I actually thought there was basically none. But I think in the end we had something in the ballpark of like 15 to 20 ambulances and 2 or 3 helicopters.
Really?
Over the whole, yeah. And like
It wasn't
most
like one of
people
them.
but
The biggest crash was like that dude that axed himself on the XC course. So, like from what I remember.
yeah, I think the helicopters were like purely precautionary, and some of the ambulances maybe too. But the only injury I know was a broken hip on the finish line jump, which is why we went up.
Right.
That was the first day of practice, and then
Forgot about that.
apparently there's heaps of like just cuts and bruises and stuff on the cross country course. Apparently, that was majority of the injuries was from the cross country course. So, yeah,
why are you saying that with a smile on your face?
Yeah. Well, because it's not supposed, you'd expect it to from the down track. Got like 55-foot doubles on the down track, and you're going like 60k an hour. You'd think people would be like eating shit left, right, and center, but it turns out they weren't.
Do you remember
maybe cross country bikes needed? Sorry, go on. Go on, Dan.
Do you remember who the kid was that axed himself just before the fire road? Like, you know how there was like the one. I thought I saw a guy die. Like, genuinely thought he was dead, and he just walked away. Like, he was fine. Like, it's just one of those crashes.
Fuck.
Yeah, you could have like some pretty big crashes on that downhill track, and you can, if you land in the right spot, you get pretty lucky. There's a lot of little loamy pillows out there.
Loamy pillows.
Yeah. We had a downhill race here on the weekend, and they had to shut it down for an hour because the ambos couldn't keep up. Like, I think it ended up being 20 ambos like on practice day. So
yeah, sweet. We didn't do that bad though.
No, it was fine.
Well, I think like even McGazza this year, like I don't know how much we talked about it last time because we talked about my crash, but I spoke to the medics there and I was surprised there was very minimal amount of injuries. From what I was told, like mine was pretty well the worst one with my collarbone and knocking myself out, but I think there was like maybe one or two. So
at least you won something that day.
Yeah. I think there was probably one or two other clavicles broken. And then I had a mate, I can't remember what he did. He like tried a crank flip on the step down and like something fucked up and he went over the bars. I think he might have dislocated his shoulder. Don't quote me on that. I can't really remember. Sorry, Phil, if you're listening. But McGazza like it had very minimal crashes for what I thought was going to happen. And I don't know, sometimes it just fucking catches you out, sometimes it doesn't, and you just get lucky. And I feel like we're about on one of those suspension stories all over again. Yeah. I'm not great at storytelling sometimes.
I just want to throw in there too, like those 20 ambulances or whatever over the national champs, that's over like, nearly 7 days of racing and practice. Cross country starts on Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning or whatever, and then we've got practice and racing right through to Sunday late afternoon. So I think the amount of injuries we had were like pretty minimal, but that's still like way more than what the public perception was, I suppose, because it was all tucked away, which I think was pretty good for a lot of people's confidence. Like I said earlier, if you're not just seeing people beat up in the medic tent every time you walk past, then like you're not going to be even thinking about crashing, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty sick to see them change the track to work like as well. I don't know. I don't really ever see that.
What happens? Oh, are you talking about the cross country or are you talking about the downhill?
No, the downhill. Like the last jump was too long.
Baxter.
It was too long and the lip was not. The lip was too long, so like he didn't get any pump off the takeoff. And then the gap was too long, and then the landing had like no case pad. It was just like a round knuckle. Oh. So if people can't if people like gonna 50-50 the knuckle or whatever, it's like super savage. But it sort of works as it is now. I think we're gonna I think I'm probably going to rebuild it for next year.
Yeah.
Beck wants me to make it a tabletop,
No.
which I don't know if I'll do that, but
You can make it safer without making it a tabletop.
Yeah, I'm gonna at least make it a like give it a bit more case pad so that people can come up shorter.
Yeah.
It was pretty hectic. Like
I haven't even seen it. I don't think. Is this not the one that I was seeing heaps of Instagram stories of, like everyone kind of like right down near the bottom? They were going like Mac 10 through like some kind of like, I guess kind of like tight flowy section of trail, and then hit like a road gap thing. It wasn't that jump.
No, that's like there's a lot of track to go from the road gap down.
Okay.
Which I got some pretty like cool little changes that I'm gonna do down the bottom there. So
sick.
But yeah, from that road gap, there's like a long section of fire road, which hopefully we can do something cool with next year. And then there's like that big step up that I showed you photos of, Jai. And then some flat turns that were like the easiest flat turns ever to ride. And then big step down a left-hand berm into like a right-hand hip. And then this like kind of boring section like down the side of a green trail, and then you come over the crest into the finish line. There's like big step down into the actual finish bowl, which is the one that was the problem.
Yeah, so
the finish line was before that jump, like on Saturday morning as well.
I wasn't having a fucking bar of that,
I was fucking blown away when I saw that.
Well, they had like fair reason to do it, but they just like, I think.
What was the reason to do it? Just because it was a savage jump?
No, it was actually on Tuesday that we changed it, I think. When they were setting it up, they said that the finish bowl from like the bottom of the landing to where we had the fencing wasn't long enough for people to stop, apparently.
Is there like a certain requirement?
I think it's 40 meters.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I thought that I'd stepped out 40 meters, but apparently my 40 meters isn't the right 40 meters.
Did you use a trundle wheel?
No, I just used my feet.
Oh, okay. You should try a trundle wheel. They take proper measurements.
Yeah. Take measurements. There's a couple of options here.
If there's like a specific rule, you should probably use the trundle wheel.
Yeah, well, it was like close to 40 feet. So I was just like stretching it. It wasn't 40 meters, but anyway, they put the finish line at the start of the takeoff, and I was like, nah, like we didn't build this jump to have the fucking finish line on the takeoff. We're having it on the landing. So I spoke to some people, and some people were helpful, some people weren't very helpful from of cycling, and came to find out that the reason that I did that was just because the finish bowl wasn't long enough. So I was like, well, practice hasn't started yet. I'll bring the digger up here and I'll make the finish bowl longer, and we'll just move the fencing, and then we can put it at the bottom of the bottom of the landing.
Yeah.
So I just tracked the digger up there and did that, and we moved the fencing, and then I got my way.
Oh, so you did end up using the jump?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all, Jay.
Yeah. I walked like I was in the SRAM tent, and Dylan caught wind that they'd put the finish line like because they got these big like pole things that say finish or whatever. And we got wind that they'd done that, and Dylan was just like, "No, that's ridiculous. Like, you can't have the fucking finish before jump." Yeah. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "They haven't done that, surely." I walked up there, and sure enough, they have. And I was like, "No, we got to sort this out. I'm not having a bar of this." So yeah, we got it sorted. But that was a good thing I found out that weekend, is like, because I kind of thought once practice started that whatever the track was how it needed. Like, we couldn't change it. But then once that jump took someone out and he broke his hip on it, and we were kind of like, oh, we need to like make this a bit safer. I spoke to one of the commissaires, and he was like, if you think there's something dangerous, just you don't need to ask anyone, just go and change it. So like I think in coming years or whatever, like it's good to have that confidence that if we deem something to be dangerous for whatever reason, we can just go and change it halfway through practice, and nobody's allowed to say anything.
How much notice does there need to be? Because I remember, depending on which like series it was really depended on like how much notice you needed to have. I have a feeling from memory, at least it needed to be like the day before race day, but I don't really know 100% sure. But because they need to be able to practice, obviously, on the new like section or the tweaks or whatever. But
yeah, I would assume like old mate didn't feel like having too much of a chat, so he didn't go into too much detail. But I would assume that'd be right. Like we can change stuff up to race day evening, I suppose.
Yeah,
I think
if you're going to change anything.
What was that, Darren? Sorry?
I think it's relative though. Like if a tree falls down on a track,
you got to cut it out, or well, I suppose you could change it, but
I remember like one year they cut out a whole A line of an enduro nationals down here, like the day before the race.
Yeah.
After 3 days of practicing, like it wasn't dangerous or anything, but they just cut it out just in case.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think like you're right. It's up till the day before because people have to be able to practice it.
Yeah, because I remember like a big thing kicked up. This was probably before your time as well, Baxter, but you'd know who it is, and it was Trent. And we were at this race, Yak and Dander, and they didn't bump the trail. Sucks. Oh, dude, that trail was fucking sick. Do not fucking knock that. No, it was so sick. It had really cool sections of like proper rock tech, and then it had like little sprints in between. It had a couple of jumps. Like I frothed Yak and Dander. That was a sick fucking trail. Shut your fucking mouth.
Oh no, I think I'm thinking. What's the one that's just in the paddock on the hill?
Shepparton.
That's not Yak and Dander. Oh yeah, no, sorry. I'm thinking of Shepparton.
I'm gonna shut you down there as well because I really like Shepparton too, and I know a lot of people don't. But Yak and Dander, they didn't really bump the trail all that well. And there was this section where you like were coming in real hot into this like really long radius like right hand turn, and they only bunted the trail on the outside. And we were just like coming through the rock garden and then jumping out of the rock garden on the inside and full insiding this turn. Like I was in proper juniors. Like I would have been maybe 15, 16 or something like that. And I've always had a pretty creative mind and just looking for fucking other options. And I'm like, well, if the tape's there, and it's open for everyone to do. And I don't keep my mouth shut either. Like everyone knows that I have a pretty big mouth. So I told everyone about it anyway. I told them what line I was doing. And then the next morning we came back, race morning, and they had bunted it off. And I think Trent was the one that like really kicked up a fuss about it. He was like, you can't go fucking changing the track, blah, blah, blah. This is what I've been practicing all weekend. Mm-hmm. And then that was when that whole thing came up that they were allowed to change it up until like the morning of racing. And I think you needed to be able to have at least like, everyone needed to have the chance to have at least 2 practice runs. But correct, like don't call me on this. Jamie, fact check that real quick for me. Thank you. But yeah, like I think it was about two practice runs or something like that everyone needed to have. But yeah, obviously don't quote me on that. Unless Jamie, have you got that?
It's gone.
Jamie can't find it.
Anyway, it's gone down on the record.
Going on record.
It was like there's this weird thing at like nationals as well when I saw it like. Because I was kind of hanging around everyone being a pest. But like the Thursday, Friday, like everyone's chilling and everyone's good mates. And then Saturday, I was like, well, even like the end of Friday, everyone starts getting like tense and talking to each other less.
Yeah.
Saturday was like starting to be game on. And then Sunday was like a whole different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should try fucking talking to Troy on a Sunday. He'll give you like, he'll tell you, fuck off without saying a word. That's not saying
before after he wins.
Wow, before.
Yeah.
After like going off Sunday after he wins, you'll be like, good to get any words in because he'll just be dribbling shit.
Oh my god!
But yeah, the whole vibe was like.
Sorry, you go.
The whole vibe was like so different.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about that because that is something that we brought up in our group chat as well. Pressure. Baxter, how was dealing with the fucking pressure for you at national champs and like rest of the races and stuff like that that you're going into? Do you find it fucking weird dealing with that? Because I never went and did World Cups or anything like that, but that was something you went off and did. You've raced world champs as a junior, national champion as a junior as well. Like, what has pressure been like for you, and what have you done to overcome it?
It's kind of a hard one. I've had like a weird relationship with that whole topic, I suppose. Like at times in my quote unquote career, pressure's been like super good for me. Like when I was younger, I used to perform very well under pressure. Like I used to tell Dad when we're at races, and he's like, there's no pressure, just go out and have fun. I'm like, that's not like I'm not gonna do good if I'm not. If I've got like a bit of pressure on me, I'm gonna like try because I'm like a people pleaser. Like I like doing things that I like doing things for myself, obviously, but I like doing things for other people that are helping me. So if Dad's there, like working on my bike, or like even at nationals and stuff, like I had people helping me set my bike up. I had people helping me with this, helping me with that, like just people supporting. Like I'm going to go out and do the best I can for myself, but also for all those other people. So like I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well. And if I don't have that pressure, I don't try hard enough, I don't think. And that like was pretty obvious in those like two years or so where I kind of like after I finished as a junior, I stepped back from racing a little bit, and I was like going to races just with the wrong fucking attitude. I was like, I'm just here to have fun, like I don't give a fuck how I do. And then it was like too cool to try sort of thing. And then you'd like go and just get smoked and be like, oh, that wasn't that fun. So I think now I'm like starting to find a little bit better of a balance with it. But to get back to the question, I suppose, yeah, pressure's always been very good to me. And when I've done my best, I've felt like I've been under the most pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure how or why, but I can kind of harness that energy and put it back in as a good thing. Maybe it is just like that subconscious thing of like just trying a little bit harder because I do feel the pressure on me. National champs last year, I think, was through all of what I just said out the window though, because I had zero pressure on me because I'd like not really raced. I was on a trail bike, like I hadn't ridden for 6 months because I'd broken my ankle. So I'm not sure. I think that weekend was purely like I was just having the most fun because I hadn't ridden for 6 months and I hadn't raced for ages, but I felt strong and I felt ready, and I was like, I was still trying my hardest. Like I left everything on track on Sunday. There was nothing fucking left. Whereas this year, because I built the track and I lived in Medina and all of that kind of stuff, and because of my result last year, I was back to the old, like, feeling a lot of pressure to perform, which I think paid a little bit of part to trying way too hard at the top and, like, blowing out that first quarter of the track. But once I settled down a little bit, I was like, I used the good pressure, I suppose.
Do you have like? Yeah, it makes 100% sense. Like you kind of saw it a little bit with you, but like watching Troy through like practice, and watching probably Jackson through, they're like the complete opposite. Like Jackson's going pinned the whole time, like he's about to die the whole time, and then Troy looks like he's sitting on his seat during practice and doesn't. But then you watch him race, and it's like he flips this switch, and he's going like he just put 6 seconds into everyone.
So talking about this, so interrupting now real quick. This just reminded me of like when I was back in juniors and watching these guys ride as well. And it was around the time that Troy signed to the Specialized team. And I remember watching Troy and Sam Hill riding practice together and thinking exactly the same thing. Like watching Sam Hill through practice was just like super slow, just cruising through the trail and just like looking like he was sussing lines. And I don't know if Troy was like doing that beforehand or if that was something that he picked up from Sam. But it was definitely something I noticed from Sam first that I was just like, yeah, they just look like they're cruising down the trail. I never saw him ride fast through practice once, like proper tapped fast, until like race runs come around, and then it was just like they'd taken the time to analyze everything on the trail and just knew exactly how fast they could go in those sections, which was insane. But yeah, it's just crazy to hear that you noticed that as well on the weekend, Darren. But that was something I noticed like probably 10 years ago with those guys, which is pretty crazy that it's still kind of going on, I guess. But just the way they ride.
As if you're noticing this now, Darren. Been around for years.
Yeah, I haven't been watching his every practice run.
No, it's just like it was one thing that like stuck in my mind from when I first went to nationals and I was watching guys that were way quicker than me. And I was just like, what are they doing? Why are they riding so slow? But yeah, it was just like something that got stuck in my brain.
That's like, I definitely noticed I was going to jump in and say the same thing about Sam. Like Sam Hill, you see him in practice and you're like, what the fuck is he doing? Like he's going so slow. And then I think Aaron Gwynn's the same just from like memory. I remember watching him at Val de Sol like every single time he went past me when I was at Val de Sol World Cup. I was like, really? Why is he like what? Why is he going so slow? Is he hurt or something? Like, but then race run they just turn it up. Whereas I'm more like Jackson, where I just got to go fast every single run, and then like you race run, you still like inevitably find that extra little bit. But I learned it was one thing that I think I learned it from. I can't remember if Dean Lucas told me it or Jake Lucas told me it when I was in the YVC team and he was the filmer. But either way, it came from Dean, and that was that like, because you hear people they'll go to practice. Say you got practice Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday morning, and they learn their lines on Friday and go from like, we'll just use random numbers, but they go from like a 0 to like a 10 in speed, and then
out of what?
Just out of fucking whatever. These are just numbers that mean nothing.
Out of 12. Okay.
It's just to show that you're climbing. If you go from like a zero to 10, for example, and then you go on, and then on your first run on Saturday, you get people that are like, oh, just go out there and your first run, just take it easy. Like if your last run on Friday was at the end of practice, like, what the fuck's the point in that? You may as well do a warm up before your run and then make your first run on Saturday. Like, you give it 100%. You might only be going at like 8 or 9 speed compared to what you were the day before. But like, I don't see any point in like doing a slow run to start the day. It's like you may as well just throw that one in the bin and just like forget that you even did it.
Well, what if you like? I guess, okay, so like this is coming from someone that's not really a racer or anything like that, but my first run of the day would definitely be checking to see whether there's fucking dew and stuff like that still around, depending on what time you started practice, like on the routes and everything like that. So if you go like a flat out run, first run in the morning, and you wash out and crash because there was dew on the trail that's not going to be there come racing, is that not something that comes to play at all?
Well, it does to a point, so I think it's all relative. Like, if it's rained overnight, obviously the actual speed that you're going to be traveling is like, so it's more like an effort scale. So instead of an actual speed scale, so there's like no point going out there and doing like an 80% effort run. Like, you may as well just be riding every run at 100%. And if you're using it as a warm-up run, like, you're kind of just wasting your time. So I think if you do your weekend properly, so like you start wherever, you build speed on Friday, work out all your lines, then do a track walk Friday afternoon, then Saturday morning you do a warm up, and then you do like 100% effort run, which might not be as fast as your last run the day before, but it's going to feel like it. You're going to be putting in the same amount of effort. Or if it's rained, you're riding as fast as you can to the conditions, because then you're just like building over the whole weekend, hoping that your last run on Sunday is going to be your fastest, rather than like build, drop, and then you're like starting down here again, and then you're like build, drop, and then build. Like you're not gonna build
consistently, yeah.
As fast as speed, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm doing a very good job of explaining it, but
to be honest, it kind of like it's resonating with me and like jumps and trick stuff as well, because people still get fucking confused with me when I'll go like first run drop in and I will either do a flat spin or like a cork flip barrel roll or something like that will be like my first lap of the day. And for me, that's not like a necessarily like warming up thing. Like probably I should be doing it as like I should warm up. But for me, it's more of like, you know, getting the fear out of my way of knowing that I already know that I can do that, and I'd rather not build it up to be something that I need to stress about. And I just know that, okay, that's something I can do, get it out of the way quick, and then I can just fucking ride at my level that I would normally ride at, you know, any other fucking time. So that's why I would do that. And I guess that kind of sounds like a similar sort of thing as to just like dropping the fucking hammer first lap and just going, okay, this is my pace. Let's set this as like the baseline and then build from that. So that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
A good way to put it. And like, yeah, that's it. It's like you build up to like a set pace. It's like, why would you then just take, like, you may as well just like take 2 runs that you did the day before, throw them in the bin and start halfway through Friday at like whatever speed you're at there, instead of being able to build the whole weekend. And the other thing that I found it helps with is like, and this definitely, I opened my eyes to it when I did some riding after national champs, was that I was trying to set my bike up, and specifically like my suspension for my race run. So as the weekend went on and the track got faster and rougher, I was like changing my suspension to match. So by the time I did my last practice run on Sunday, like me and Lockie McKillop helped me massively over that weekend, and same with Aaron. We had my bike like set up pretty good for the speed that I was riding on that track. And then on like the Monday after national champs, maybe it was a Tuesday or whatever, we like just went out and did some fun laps, and my bike felt like shit. Like it just felt so bad. Everything was like too fast or too stiff, or like just riding at a cruisy pace. Like it just felt shit. So I think if you're going out there on your Saturday morning or Sunday morning and you're like, oh, I'm just going to go like 60%, you're not going to like start your day off good, because your bike's probably going to feel like shit. You're going to be like, you're going to have a crap run because you're just like getting beat up from going too slow, or like over braking, or like riding tentatively. If you just go out there and just ride like at a comfortable pace that's as fast, like just go ride as fast as you feel comfortable riding at 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, then you're going to start your day off. Like, you got a chance that you're going to start your day off well, and you're going to start your day off riding fast.
Yeah. I feel like I'm definitely speaking for a lot of people that are listening right now, but you have definitely got me fired up to go to a race run right now. Like, go to a race and just go, I'm going to fucking try this, and just go fucking hard, and just, because it makes so much sense to, set that fucking, like, I guess, mental barrier and go, this is how fast I go, and making sure that everything is all caught up to that. You're like, this is how fast I want to be. All right, let's set the suspension up to like fucking react with where I want to be, and make sure that you're like thinking about that race run from the get-go. Because so many people talk about thinking about your race run from like the start of practice or whatever, and it all comes down to that race run. But the way that you've broken it down as to like every little moment that leads up to that is probably stuff that a lot of people haven't actually talked about, and why you're dialing your suspension in, not like dialing it in at a cruisy pace, but, you know, at fucking race pace, and making sure that it's ready to respond to what you're going to throw at it. And like, it makes a lot of sense, and makes me want to go to a race and go, fuck, let's have a crack at doing it Baxter's way.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't like pretend to have all the answers. Like, I'm still just like trying to learn from everyone every time I go to a race now. And like, now that I'm not racing so much, or like as not going to say I'm not competitive, but like I am doing it because it's fun, and like obviously winning or doing well or riding fast it's fucking fun. But it's kind of like allowed me to to slow down a little bit and like not be so results focused and more just like be trying to learn as much as I can about how to ride a bike fast. Like when I was junior, I didn't really. I was like, yes, you got to set your suspension up. But like I never paid attention to how or why.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like paying attention to how and why, and like why you need longer reach or like why you need to do this or that. And then noticing the differences and like making sure that I do like a good warm up in the morning before practice so that I'm not wasting my first run and like just shit like that. Like it's all the learning around it is super fun.
So can I just stop you there for 2 seconds? Why do you need longer reach?
So the way that Aaron explained it briefly was that if you can have a longer like front center, so like if the reach on the bike is a little bit longer, and this is all relative to how tall you are. Because I had the new Canyon Descender has like 3 reach modes, so it's got like short, middle, and long. And when I first got it, I was like, this thing feels way too fucking long, so I put it in short. And then he encouraged me to put it in medium. And he just said that essentially, if you've got slightly longer front center, it puts the mass of your weight more central on the bike, which just means that the suspension and everything's going to react more evenly.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
I'm sure there's like science and physics behind why, but that was enough for me to put it in medium and just get used to it. And now it feels sick.
The simplest way to like explain that I've found is if you put a ruler on a pen and you have a weight, 2 weights on there, right, and one's heavier than the other, you can move that ruler to get it to balance right. So that center point, the pen that's under the ruler, is like your body weight. So you will move that around to get those 2 points to weigh evenly. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you want to be, depending on how you ride, you want to be as central as possible.
Yeah.
Which is why I hate bikes with short chainstays.
Yeah, see, I'm a massive frother of bikes with short chainstays.
Yeah, but you do like spin.
I just want the bike to be out of control.
And like the way that I ride, I would probably be better off with like a mullet or a slightly shorter chainstay and a slightly longer front for like weight distribution, because I'm tall, but I ride like more off the back of the bike and I steer with the rear wheel.
Yeah.
So having like a little bit longer reach forces a bit more of my weight over the front wheel. Whereas if my like reach is too short and I'm just like swinging off the back too much, I got like no front wheel traction.
This is really opening my eyes to so much more in geometry that I wasn't even thinking about. Because I've been looking into geometry a lot with different bikes and stuff. And obviously with like parting with waves with Kona that I've been with for so many years, I'm looking at everything that's going to suit my style best. I'm honestly just trying to find stuff that are similar to what I've got. But yeah, for me, I'm just looking for fucking short chainstays and like, you know, a relatively short like wheelbase so that I know that it's going to be like easier to maneuver around. But yeah, I'm definitely the same as you and like steering with the rear wheel quite a lot as far as like bike park laps and stuff go. But mainly because I just like to slap the bike around and kind of make it do what I want it to do. I'm not in it to be like a fast rider. I just want the bike to be playful. But yeah, I definitely haven't really thought about like a longer reach on a bike and a shorter rear end to be able to like kind of make it, that'd make it more snappy, I guess, in a way, because you're just going to throw that back end into a corner and stuff as well.
It's easier to do that because your weight is now
further forward.
No, it's further back.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because your chainstays are shorter. So
yeah.
Puts more weight over the rear axle.
Yeah. Well, that makes it harder to slap around though, and doesn't it? Because the back end's got more traction.
Yeah, but if you have a shorter rear end, generally speaking, your wheelbase is probably going to be slightly shorter. So then that's what's going to make it snappier. But like, from riding heaps of different bikes, like I've just found that I've never really jumped on a bike and been like, whoa, this thing is playful because it's short. It's been like playful because that's how I've set the suspension up, or it's playful because that's the type of trail that I'm riding. Like you can kind of like Like how people used to just say, "Oh, 29ers don't corner." That's bullshit. You just don't know how to corner a 29er. And now
Yeah.
I've got used to riding a 29er, it corners as good as a fucking 26-inch bike does. You can slap whatever you want.
Yeah, okay. I've been on the fence about the whole 29er thing, obviously for so long, but it's really difficult for me because I'm a fucking short person, and my riding's but I'm like at the same time I really do like going fast, so I've kind of like thought about it not as a downhill bike but as a trail bike running a 29er. I think I'd probably prefer to be on a mullet, but it'd be cool to try it out, to just be able to see how fast you can kind of just like let things go. And it's definitely gonna be scary. That's cool. I fucking love scaring myself. Hey, can you guys keep yarning while I go to the bathroom real quick? This is the first time I've ever done this in a podcast, but I'm fasting.
Should you have a collective piss break? Because I was about to say the same thing.
Oh, really? I mean, well, we can't hit pause. No, well,
it out.
No, Baxter, you go for a wee, and Darren and I'll talk, and then when you get back, I'll go for a wee.
It would probably be easier if you just all go at the same time.
Do you want to just all go at the same time? We're going to hit pause, we're going to go time out, we'll go to an intermittent ad break where we talk about stuff. Have we already hit pause now? Like, this is
I'll just cut it.
We'll be back after a short break.
In just a tick.
Baxter have gone to go and shave themselves.
All right. We'll be back.
So that was a pleasurable audio experience.
Oh, did you hear the whole thing?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it in there. It'd be so good.
Bit of ASMR.
Someone will be frothing on A.
Yeah, someone will be into it. I bought myself a GoPro today, Darren.
Ooh.
One of those fancy. I'm going to start vlogging, I think.
Actually?
Funny. Yeah, fuck it. Why not? I'll sell out to make some money off YouTube. Why not?
That'd be easy because you can just join in with Jack. Like, you're up there now. Just going to do it than him. Like,
yeah, I think it would be like, I don't know. Once I get past the barrier of like thinking that talking to the camera is real kooky and gay and just start doing it, I think it'll be fine.
Dude, it's so weird, like the first few times, but then you kind of just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's it. I think it'd be all good. I think if I get a good response from like the first couple, I'm going to Miko's farm tomorrow, so I'm going to just film that all day. And just smoke a bong or something, Charlie. Why have you got sponges on?
I'm looking nothing but steez.
You're a fucking idiot.
To be honest, I found him in the bathroom. I don't know whose there is. This is what happens when you live in a house of 6 people. There's just cool stuff everywhere.
The only thing I've been like looking at this whole time is that cat or that dog that's on your right hand side, like the photo.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to see? This is actually really special to me. So, shout out to my wonderful girlfriend Lindsay. This is literally on the second day that we met. She got me this because it turned out like we met the day before. Fuck, I hope I'm getting this right. No, maybe we met 2 days before, and the second time that we hung out, it just turned out it was Valentine's Day, and
you're absolutely blowing it.
We had plans, and then she bought this. So it's a fox. She put a nose piercing on it, and then said, "Happy Valentine's Day, you sexy fox." So. That's really special to me, and I'm really stoked that you noticed that. That's cool. We were going to put some really weird shit up here and just like try and see if you guys noticed it or if anyone that recorded, like if it went out, if anyone noticed it, but we decided against it. So we kept it pretty simple.
If you're still not proposed, Joe, I thought that should have happened by now. I'm going to do a like timeline. Are you supposed to be having kids next week?
It's coming up soon, I think. Won't be far away.
Probably a lot of sad ladies out there to know that you're off the market now. I'll tell you what.
I'm sure there is, but
we're gonna have to set up a hotline.
Yeah, well, we'll send them Baxter's way.
Just put the lifeline number in the show notes.
1-800-SEXY-FOX.
But yeah, so
You can send
So
it my way.
that's that note.
But you don't want to get into the timeline anymore, Jai.
The timeline. Oh, we can get into the timeline. So much happened since our last podcast on my end, like when we were talking about so much stuff, and then
Jai's fucking a new man.
so fucking life changed drastically. I think we talked about. I think the last time we talked about it, I think I like jokingly said, haha, I'll try and get a girlfriend by the next podcast and learn a new language. So my girlfriend Lindsay is from Maribor in Slovenia and speaks like, fuck it, I'm going to fuck this up and she's going to hate me. It's like 5 or 6 languages. I've not learned one word from any of them. So that's not really going that great. Hey?
You got a girlfriend. You did one of those things.
Yeah, so I didn't learn a new language, but I did get a girlfriend, and we did talk about that. That was going to be one of my things that I might try and see if I can do by the next podcast. What else happened? Moved house. Fucking obviously went into civil works. Hey?
Got engaged.
Got engaged. No, I haven't got engaged yet. It's kind of, should I do it on the podcast right now, or just like I'll propose now and then like it's gonna, and then if she doesn't listen to it, then it's her own fault. So she missed out.
Is that why you're wearing this fancy getup?
Yeah, this is my outfit, so that we can take some screen grabs from this later, and we'll post it on Instagram and say, "Yo, we're engaged now, guys! Congratulations." That was the plan all along. Actually, no, funny story. She's at Kmart right now buying me a turtleneck sweater because we're going to the rock themed party. Like, have you seen that meme where people wear turtlenecks and then the gold chains? So all my housemates have all left. They're all dressed up. And I was like, sorry guys, got to record a podcast and I don't have a turtleneck. So she's gone up the shops to go and buy me one, which is fantastic.
Are you going to the party after this?
Yeah, going to the party after this. So honestly, this whole get-up that I'm wearing right now was literally just for the podcast. I was wearing a dressing gown before, but because of the lighting, you couldn't see how elegant the dressing gown was. So it wasn't really as fucking spectacular as I was hoping. So what else?
That why
process sometimes.
we were waiting for you for like 45 minutes.
Yeah. Pretty much, and I tried to put the blame on the fact that Lindsay was in the shower, but to be honest, I was fucking around and I was late, so it definitely wasn't her fault.
I knew you were lying. How are we going to trust anything that comes out of your mouth?
To be honest, she did have a shower, but it was because I said to her, "Hey, I just want to have like one more beer and just like kind of unwind a little bit." So I'll just tell these guys, give me half an hour, and yeah, so that's why I was late. What else has happened?
Funny thing about the engagement on the podcast, I actually shot some photos for a guy that proposed at that Wollonga downhill race.
No way.
Yeah, he proposed during practice.
That's sick. What did she say?
Said yeah.
That's great.
Like, I was shooting. Sorry?
Does she ride?
No.
Ah.
Like she was out there like watching him.
Yeah.
And she like supports him.
Is she a fan of bicycle riding? Obviously.
Well, she's a fan of him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's loving someone for who they are and the people and the things that they do. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's glorious.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. Like we got a filming mate of mine to film from one side, and then I was shooting photos from the other, and they got like full footage of it and everything. It was sick.
Sick. That's
It's pretty funny.
Pretty cool that you could be a part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no pressure. It was like, it's super crazy.
No pressure. Whoa.
Oh, phone down.
Stitcher.
No, I think we're back on.
Yo.
Yeah.
But did you get a frame sponsor between the last podcast and this podcast?
So, I don't really know. I can't say too much because I don't know what's going to come out before the podcast or after the podcast. Maybe I'll say oh, fuck, I don't even know. So I have been talking to a couple of companies. Hey?
He's got one lined up and it's going to be sick.
Yeah, I've got a company lined up that should be pretty fucking sick. I'll be pretty pumped on it if it goes ahead. And what they're offering sounds fantastic, so super keen on it. And maybe I'll drop the word and then we'll just like beep it out if it doesn't go ahead, and then I'll just look like an idiot for talking about this. But I am stoked to announce that I am on. No, so that'll be sick if that goes ahead. And hoping to find out a little bit more in the next week or so and get things rolling, which will be pretty sick. And they've got some pretty sick things in development at the moment that I'm hoping to help work with and develop, which will be pretty sick. So keen on that.
Hell yeah.
As well. But it was really good to like, really chat and get on like a good like friend basis rather than feeling like, you're kind of one of many and you're just kind of a number, which is what I've kind of dealt with a little bit in the past. So that was really cool, and wanted to know what I wanted to do and wanted to know what he can do to help that and like what I can do for them. And it was just, it sounds like it's going to be a really cool thing. Understands the whole content creation sort of budgets and side of things, because obviously it's not free to make content, but apparently filmers and photographers want to work for free.
They want the exposure.
That's
exposure.
If we film a video together and I post it and my sponsors post it, then it's going to be good for you,
Yeah, because then another sponsor is going to want you to do the same thing for them. So
exactly. I give you exposure, you give me content.
I know you have 20,000 followers and I have 2,000, but it's exposure.
So no, definitely looking forward to doing some cool stuff with them. And then another mate of mine here, Dylan Foote. Dylan, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. It's like Foote. Like we just all call him Dylan Foote, but it could be Foote. I don't know. It should have like a little apostrophe off the end of it. But he is a really, really talented like young filmmaker, and we're just fucking getting stuck into doing a bunch of shooting and stuff at the moment, which is sick. Doing some stuff for the Darko Rain Jacket at the moment. We went out to go do some filming for that the other week. And weather in Queenstown has had some really shit weeks where it's just been pissing down rain and just miserable weather. And I was like, perfect. It'll be great for filming the Rain Jacket. Check the weather. It was supposed to be raining all day on the Saturday. And then I got up super early in the morning so we could go and do a shot like as the sun was coming up. And it was raining all morning while I was making breakfast. Rained all the drive up. Sat up the top and we were just like sitting in the dark in the car at the top of the hill while it was raining, waiting for the sun to come up. As soon as the sun came up and there was light, the rain completely stopped. All of the clouds disappeared, and we had like just a beautiful sunny fucking day. And to be honest, that would be sick like any other time, because it was like it wasn't in the trees, so it wasn't going to be patchy light or anything like that. It would have been sick for filming, but the idea was to film for the Rain Jacket, and it just looked like it was a mint summer day. I was like, well, fuck. So we did like a day of shooting in that. I don't know. I guess we'll see like kind of how the content looks afterwards, but we're going to try and get out Sunday if we can, because the rain's starting to take a turn as of today again and starting to get wetter. But what were you saying, Baxter?
I think that like just because it's a rain jacket doesn't mean that like you have to specifically shoot it in the rain. But it's like, take Canberra, for example. It can be like -2. You're going to wear a fucking rain jacket when you go riding, but it's probably still going to be sunny.
100%. Well, that was one thing I noticed when we were doing that shoot, was that because I've never ridden really in a rain jacket unless I was at a race and it was like properly raining, because otherwise if it's raining, I just don't go riding. But one thing I definitely noticed from that was, on cold days, I'll normally wear a hoodie when I go riding or whatever, but I get really hot in that hoodie really fast. That rain jacket was that good in between, wearing like a long sleeve, like a jersey or a long sleeve top. It's definitely a good in between a hoodie and nothing. And that was actually pretty mean to ride in. So I was pretty pumped on that, which I think that's going to be really good for winter riding and stuff around here, even if it's not freezing cold. But it has been getting fucking cold, like -5 degrees over here. And I really hate the cold weather so much. But why the fuck did I move to a snow town when I hate the fucking cold? But
snow town's a whole different thing down here.
Oh, I know. But I don't know. The snow season's nowhere near as long as the summer season over here, so it's definitely worth it. And I'm going to try snowboarding for the first time. Going to do a full season, which will be pretty sick. So, oh man, things are fucking happening over here. It's hectic.
Did you?
It says Lynn. Sorry, you go, Darren.
Did you guys read like that Pink Bike survey thing they did? Like where they surveyed all those athletes and shit like that?
I remember reading this survey that they did about like their wages and stuff like that.
Which
is
I think
that one?
It's a little bit skewed, but yeah. They did that, and then there was one about social media and creation of content, and it was like 50% of people do it, but they don't like creating content for like Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I heard about this actually on I can't remember which podcast it was.
This is not like the YouTubers versus like talented athletes article. That is a different one again.
No, so like
was it to do with like mental health and like social media, like content creation and that kind of thing?
Yeah, they did like a whole section on it, and
I need to suss this out.
But basically, like a lot of people have to do social media content because obviously it's a huge thing right now. But like I think 75% of people had to do it or something like that, but only like 45% of them actually like doing it and kind of stress them out more. So I was just wondering if you guys like have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I guess my thing is I really hate posting anything that I'm not 100% stoked on. Like if I'm not like really happy with exactly how I rode, I don't want to post it because I'm just like, I'm not pumped. But then I do find myself like putting stuff out there that I'm not stoked on just so that I'm making sure that my account is staying active and just staying in, you know, I guess the hotspot of what Instagram is. But then I still don't really post, you know, stacks, especially now because it's getting into winter and I'm working long days and not enough light. So I'm not even riding that much. So let alone being able to get enough like content to be able to fill, you know, all the time and to be able to keep my Instagram feed busy. But I like personally, if I had the choice, I would love to just go out and if I have like a dedicated day or 2 days to do filming or photography, I'd be pumped on that. And I'd love to just like go out and do it and just get everything done. Because one thing I hate is like, especially going out riding and like asking someone, hey man, do you mind getting a couple of clips for me or something like that? Like, I just hate doing it. And when I'm in the moment, I really enjoy just riding my bike with my friends and just like not thinking about social media and just thinking about doing it for myself. But then like I guess you kind of have a bit of a thing in the back of your head like, oh fuck, I really should get some clips and like make sure I'm keeping Instagram busy and stuff like that. But most of the time the only stuff that I really want to post is something that I've achieved, that I've wanted to achieve, or like something that I've been trying to achieve. And then it's like, you know, I'm getting closer. I don't want to just put something up just for the sake of putting something up. But with social media these days, I guess you are promoting brands and stuff like that too. So you do have to put the content out, and sometimes it might not be something that you're super stoked on, but you know, it's still relatively cool. And it may not, you know, and the other thing is that's crazy about it is like some of the stuff that you don't think is very cool, other people are frothing on. And then like we were talking about it the other day with my housemates with how random it is with the way things blow up sometimes, and then the things that you think would blow up, no one really like catches onto it. And I don't know if that's an Instagram algorithm thing or if it's just something that you're personally frothing on because it's close to you and you think this is sick, or if it's like a relatable thing, like, you know, someone goes, oh, I could do something like that, like I froth that shit, like that's what I want to aspire to, like. But then the techier stuff that I kind of put up of techier tricks doesn't seem to do as well as what the simpler stuff kind of does, if that makes sense. So Instagram for me, we talked about this last time, I think, with being able to post stuff during the week, random times, to make it look like all you do is ride bikes all the time and all you do is get free gear, free bikes and all that sort of shit. That's definitely not my style, and I'll never really do that. Although I did do it one day just to like take the piss, because Lindsay did say that, like, she came home one night and she was like complaining about everyone, like she had been seen on social media, everyone like out riding bike park and stuff like that midweek, and she was just like, oh fuck that, like, don't you guys have jobs, like, don't you have something to do? And she was just hating being at work. So the next day while I was at work, I found an old photo that I had in my phone, and it was me just like lounging on the beach down at the lake, and it was a beautiful day. And I just put the photo up and just like tagged Etnies in it. And she messaged me about half an hour later. She's like, "Oh, did you get off work early?" And I was like, "No, don't believe everything you see on Instagram." Just That's straight up, good. Just like it doesn't matter what people are posting because it doesn't necessarily mean it's real. So I don't know. Eddie Masters did a good podcast. I can't remember who it was with, where he talked about this kind of thing. And Eddie said that he's basically got like 3 personalities. He's got like, you know, himself, like 100% like through and through. He's got his marketing personality that he deals with all of these sponsors and all that sort of stuff, which is a real professional side. And then he's got his social media side of things, which is like another person altogether. So he has 3 different people, and like, you know, and that's kind of what you have to do if you're doing a career out of it, is to like kind of separate yourself from all of them. Social media is not real. It's something that you have to do for your work, and you have to make it look like you're living this fantastic life, but it is not real life. And then you've got your real person that you are around your mates, and that's like just flat out. And then you've got a professional side that can just get shit done. So that's my take on social media, is that it's there to be used and you can use it to make a career out of things. But looking at other people, don't take it so seriously, because people are only going to be posting, you know, their best lives. They're not going to be posting all of the shit times that they're having and everything like that. And I can understand where the mental health side of things comes into it, because it can get pretty fucking depressing if it looks like everyone else lives a perfect life. So yeah,
I think
but
I think you're definitely like on the ball with a lot of things, Joe. I definitely agree with pretty much everything that you just said. I think like Instagram, like at the end of the day, like most people, there's definitely people out there that like post stuff that's, you know, not always just the best and best of the best, but like I think for the most part it's just a highlight reel. Like, and I agree with Jai in the sense, like I'm much the same, that I'm not going to put something on my Instagram because like I shoot photos and videos and stuff myself. So it's like, if I don't like the way that my friend filmed the clip, or I don't like the way that I wrote in the clip, or whatever it is, like I'm just not going to post it. I'm only going to post stuff that I'm happy with. And like sometimes maybe the quality of like my phone camera doesn't have the best camera on it, so maybe sometimes like the actual quality of the clip in terms of resolution isn't the best, but the way it was filmed or the way that I'm writing is like I'm happy with that, so it'll get the tick and that'll pass. But I think like to go right back to the start, like content creation is like, again, I'm on pretty much on the same page as Jarka. I fucking love going out and working with like my mates or photographers or filmers. Like RF is one of my favorite people to work with, just because he gets as stoked on like a sick photo as what I do. And like we have, because we've been working together for ages, we have a sick relationship where like if I'm not happy with the photo for whatever reason, whether I like wasn't writing perfect or like I don't like his angle or whatever, like I can just say to him, no, I don't like that. And it's the same to me. He'll be like, no, you can do better than that, or like I fucked it up or whatever. And I really enjoy like the whole creative side of like figuring out how you can write a different feature to like make it look cool or like whatever it is. Like, but I think if you want to make a career out of it, you've got to do that. Like, you've got to, like, I look at my Instagram like it's like work. Like it's part of my, like you said before, Joe, like it's part of my job. I try and limit how much I'm just scrolling on there these days, because I just get stuck in a hole. And I also have been like pretty bad at it, but I'm getting better. Like just coming up with a post that I like and posting it, and not really like keeping an eye on how it's doing, because I think that comes back to the whole like that's what gets you down. Like what you said, when you think something's real sick, so you'll like post it up and be like, yeah, this is going to go off. And then it gets, 2 likes, whatever. And then you post something that you don't think is any good and it gets 10. You just like, and if you start getting too wrapped up in it, then I went through a whole stage where I like resented Instagram. I was like, fuck that shit. Like, I don't want to have a bar of it. Like, I just want to delete it all. But like now that I've just looked at it like a job and less like a hobby, so to speak, I've got like a much better relationship with it. And
that's good.
And if you pay enough attention to what does well and what doesn't, then it's very easy to like kind of like beat the system, so to speak. So my Instagram, and I don't know if the algorithm works like this with everyone, but like posting every day doesn't work. Posting irregularly doesn't work. So like I've just kind of got it to like, I think at the moment I'm like every second day or every third day I'll post something. If you just do that consistently, even if it's only once a week, but if you just do it on a Monday every week, do that consistently, then your stuff will actually get seen. And this is a hot tip if you haven't already worked it out. I'm sure you have, but like just post every single video as a reel.
Oh yeah, I don't post every video as a reel, but I do post a few. I think like probably like 85-90% of my videos are going up as reels now, but like I keep a couple just to kind of like, I don't know, keep a little bit of variety in it. But we were talking about like the reels and stuff like that last night. This is where the conversation was that I was talking about with like, different things blowing up different ways. Reels have been like a real confusing one because like the algorithm of them is super confusing, and it shows up, it's not like dated to people, it shows up at random times. So it can be like a month later or something like that, and then all of a sudden your reel will just blow up, and it's just like out of nowhere because all of a sudden it just started catching some traction because they randomly threw it into the feed for everyone to see, which has been pretty crazy. One thing I did...
There's like just on that, there's a setting that I think it's on automatically, but you can maybe accidentally turn it off, and it's as you're posting a reel, you can choose whether or not it gets shown in like the explore feed.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
So I think if you like accidentally turned that off, you'd really pretty much be fucked. Like no one's gonna see it. But
I don't think it just goes straight into that search feed automatically. I think that like they all get kind of pulled together, and then randomly some are put into there, some aren't. Like it's not all videos getting put into there, or like how high up they're gonna sit, and it's just like I don't know, navigating all that. One thing that I've recently switched is I had like a business profile was what my Instagram was. Which is like, then you get all of like the statistics and all that sort of stuff where you're able to see what's going on and everything like that. But then I recently found out that if you're running a business profile but you don't have too many followers, well, it doesn't matter whether you've got a bit like many followers or not, but if you've got a business profile, your account doesn't get shown as much to the wider public because they're expecting you to spend money on promoting your account. So then it's going to get a bigger, wider spread. So you're less likely to end up in like the explore feed and all of that other stuff as well. It just doesn't randomly pop up like any of the other accounts was. So I also I cut my business account and went back to a normal account. And one great thing about that is I have far less stats that I can be like looking at and like analyzing and thinking about and being like, and like the one thing I remember being able to see is like, my stories, and like if my stories have been shared to a bunch of people, you can't see who's shared it, but you can see like numbers of like, this has been shared X amount of times and, everything like that. I don't see any of that stuff anymore, which I think is good as well, because all I see is just a number of likes and that's it. And then I'd like to reduce myself from being able to like even bother looking at the likes and just posting something. If it does well, and not fucking thinking about it. But that's definitely been good, switching off that for me, I think, because I'm 100% addicted to my phone. I'll admit that. And like scrolling through Instagram and checking to see how things are doing and whether I'm like starting to progress a little bit more and like becoming a little bit more fucking, I don't know, out there or whatever. But that's been good to ditch that. for sure. But yeah,
but does it do the same thing? Like I'm not a business. I'm a public figure or whatever. Like mine says like that I'm an athlete.
yeah, yours is the same. So yours is a business profile. That's what I was running. So majority of the time it means that if yours is a business profile, they're expecting you to be doing like paid promotion stuff. So then your stuff's not as freely promoted.
But
so you would get more reach if you weren't.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering if, because like my other account, like where I just post a bunch of photos that I've taken, that one's a business one as well, but it's an actual business profile. Like it comes up, all the statistics and analytics and stuff are all different. The way that the thing's laid out is all different to my personal one, which is as an athlete.
How did
that make a difference?
How would that? I don't really understand how they're different, because I remember the only way. I'm about to let out some fucking secrets here. The only way that I was able to get like that business account to be able to see all those stats and stuff was that I had to create a Facebook page to be able to link my Instagram up to. So I just created a Facebook page and then just like hid it from public so no one can see that I have this random Facebook page. And then that's what my Instagram account was linked to, so that I got to see all of those stats. But is that different between your two profiles or not?
No, I've just got like I've got a Facebook page, which is still public, I think. I
think yours is.
Anymore, so I don't know if I get notifications, but I have like that Baxter Mayworld Racing Facebook page, which has been inactive.
Just got bulk deal offers on there and you've just never seen it.
Yeah, just a million messages. Yeah. Yo, we want to pay you $2 million.
But then, when I started that, like, we'll call it a photography account. I hate referring to it like that, but
it is.
When I started that, I just did the same thing. Yeah, I'm not a photographer. I just take photos. But when I started that account as well, I just did the same thing, made a Facebook page and linked them. But then now that Facebook page is inactive as well.
So what's the difference between your two profiles then that you're talking about? Like, because when you go through, you can select like what category you fall under. So your mountain bike one falls under the category of athlete, but like, is it not still the same kind of profile, but just two different categories?
No, so it's very similar. As in, like, you've got your, like, you can click like insights and like all of that shit. But my business one has like different features. Like I can add a shop. I can like
you can get
link
contact and stuff like that.
Different stuff and like there's more contact details and like there's more things to do with like buying and selling and running business. Whereas my athlete one is more just like it's got my insights that I can see and it's got an extra contact button and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I need to suss out what the difference is between those two.
Yeah, even though they are like they're very similar and the way that you create them is the same. And I'm going to assume essentially they do the same thing. But I'm wondering if like the like downsides to having a business page that you're talking of are only related to an actual business. And if you're a public figure, then you're still going to come up in people's explore feeds.
Yeah,
because you're not, even though it's a business page, you're running yourself as a business, but you're running yourself as a business as a human.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah. Not trying to make money off it in a way. But
yeah, the idea is that you're essentially an influencer, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to suss out what the difference is between the two. Man, I wish I didn't have to fucking think about this. I wish it was just as simple as riding your bike, but times have changed, and and you got to do it, and it's still fun, but it's just like I just don't want to be dealing with all of the statistics between like, if I have a business account or if I have a personal account as to how many people are going to view my video of me doing a fucking 360. Like I don't want to deal with that. I just want it to be simple and put a video out and people see it.
Well, it's up to you though, Joe. It's like
Yeah.
You don't have to you don't have to worry about all that shit. But if you don't, it's like, do you enjoy getting shit for free, or do you enjoy just riding your bike for free? So
if you want to earn money, you just go to OnlyFans. Like, really?
There was
never free.
There was a running joke around Queenstown for a while that I had an OnlyFans account, and we fucked with one of my friends, and she 100% thought I had an OnlyFans account. It was fantastic. We like told her it was all just like me out on the trails with like a shovel and like nude photos and stuff, but just like covering myself up on the trails. But anyway, I don't have an OnlyFans account, or do I?
Trust me if you do.
Jai's calendar's going out at the end of the year. Just a full fireman calendar, but just
desperately going to need that hotline for everyone to ring, because Jai is off the market.
Oh shit! Yeah, that was a good tangent for sure.
But yeah, so what do we get out of that about the social media? So what was the actual story? Because you never finished it. We just started talking about it.
No, you pretty much went down the same path of what everyone else did. Like it is a job, but it just is an average part of the job.
Yeah.
And did you hear Baxter was going to become? Did you hear Baxter's going to become the next YouTube star as well?
Yeah.
He actually literally told me this like on my way home, and he sent me a message saying,
"I bought a GoPro today."
Yo, hey, don't take those stickers off. If you bought it, it doesn't count. You don't advertise that shit. He bought a helmet cam.
I bought an action camera.
Oh my god! No, that's sick, dude. I'm stoked for you. I wanted to do that. I wanted to do that as well. Like, obviously, we talked about this briefly before, and then I think I just liked your message and didn't respond, which is pretty typical. But yeah,
you do that a lot.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes I'm busy, and sometimes I can't be fucked.
I do that as well. Yeah, but it fucks the algorithm if you do that.
And what?
It fucks with the algorithm if you do that.
Fuck, I don't care about the algorithm. I'm so over the algorithm. No, let's talk about vlogs. So,
yeah,
obviously, there is a bit of a stigma around vlogs.
Yeah.
But I am going to be 100% honest. I'm like not a huge fan of vlogs unless I find something that interests me. So then this is really like a hole in the whole fucking situation, because I like vlogs that interest me. People like vlogs because they interest them. So it turns out that vlogs are actually quite interesting if it's what you're interested in.
It depends how open-minded you are too. If you're like one of these dudes that's fucking too cool for the scene, then of course you're going to think it's gay. But if you're someone who's like trying to make bike riding a living, then you're going to take your Instagram seriously. You're going to treat that like a job. So why the fuck would you not go and make quote unquote vlogs? Because Instagram's not paying me shit, but if I do good on YouTube, or if you do good on YouTube, you can actually make money from that.
Yeah. Well, what I think's sick about it is I froth watching, and okay, this is going to be a whole nother fucking topic, but it's under the same umbrella. But obviously, and I think it's a bit silly if we don't cover this, because this is the fucking hot story of the last week. Is Fest series, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Sam Reynolds, not cool, man.
So obviously Fest are all blowing up. And Sam obviously does all these vlogs, runs a bunch of media projects and stuff like that. He is really switched on with the whole social media content and just producing content for people to watch.
Yeah,
the vlogs that I do watch are Fest series vlogs, and I only clicked with me after I saw that post that the only vlogs that I've seen of Fest have been Dark Fest, and I was like, oh, okay, that's because Sam was doing that whole thing. I watched all of the Audi 9's vlogs and stuff like that because I froth trail building, I froth big jumps, and I like to see how they go about doing the things that they do. So I really enjoy that. And talking about, like, I guess Fest, like, getting a bit upset about them wanting, Fest wanted to limit how much content you can produce, who the writers are that you're allowed to invite to them, and everything like that. I'm going to give my 2 cents right here on the record, and I guess this is probably going to scrap my chance of ever getting an invite to a Fest round, but like it was going to happen anyway.
Dark Fest, though.
Yeah, it can go Dark Fest, but...
So, Pure Darkness, what's it going to be called?
I think Fest have shot themselves in the foot quite hard here because, if they're going to say, we're not going to be a part of Dark Fest because of the fact that they want to create content out of it and all this sort of stuff, and they want to be able to, have other writers come up and start to progress, why would a sponsor want to jump on board Fest Series if they know that they're only going to get limited amount of content when someone else is going to run an event where they're going to promote the shit out of their brands and it's going to be everywhere and it's going to happen? Like, I feel like the money for Fest Series is going to slowly, disappear because they're going to put it into the other people that are like ready to really pump it out. And hats off to Fest 100% for what they have fucking done, because we didn't have this sort of discipline of writing where it was like big air, big jumps. And I understand the reason they went down the path that they did to begin with was like no sponsors, limited invite to the writers, is because they wanted to have control and create something that they really wanted. And they did create that, and that's fantastic. And it's so sick because that is my favorite kind of discipline, is just riding big jumps on big bikes. And not about doing gnarly tricks and all that sort of stuff, just like fun floating airs. But
essentially, they've like created, sorry, just butt in, but like they've created a whole another discipline of bike riding.
Yeah,
and it's sort of like, it's like if the dudes who originally started downhill were just like, oh no, we're too fucking core. We don't want to like publicize this. We want this just for us, and then stopped everyone from riding downhill. So, of course, you've built this fucking cool new thing that everyone wants to be a part of. Like, did you expect it to not take off?
Yeah. But then at the same time, you could kind of look at that downhill side of things and just go, like the tracks changed so much in downhill and like became a lot straighter and faster and all that sort of stuff because of the media around it. And because they needed to be able to have televised coverage to be able to promote all of the sponsors and stuff like that. And I guess that comes down to why Fest didn't want all of those sponsors and media coverage to do that kind of stuff, because they didn't want to change what they had created. Obviously, so that happened to downhill so that it was easier to, visualize and all that sort of stuff. So I can kind of see both sides of it. And I think that the way that Fest did things to begin with to create it and just go strict, like minimal sponsors, minimal content. We want to do what we want to do. And it will be interesting to see what happens now that they have like parted ways and see whether it gets skewed a little bit to be better for coverage, or whether it'll still just keep being like big mountain, big jumps, which, to be honest, big jumps aren't hard to shoot. Like, can't really be tweaked that much because you need a lot of clear space to be able to ride a big fucking jump. So the camera angles are never going to be a problem like they would in downhill. I guess.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to like stick my foot in the wrong door, but like, do you not think that they're kind of contradicting themselves because of the amount of media coverage that Loose Fest gets?
Yeah. Well, I saw a few comments and stuff where people talked about that, and I haven't looked into it enough.
Me neither. It's a pretty wild accusation, but like,
I think it was just
like Dark Fest, Loose Fest. They're like the two biggest. Like, everybody has seen Loose Fest and everyone's seen Dark Fest. The only difference is that no one's making a vlog out of the building of Loose Fest.
Yeah,
that they are at Dark Fest.
Yeah, but then I guess there was a lot less. I feel like there was a lot less. Maybe it could be like the national champs thing where something hasn't happened for ages, so it's like hard to reflect back on. But I feel like there was a lot less personal, like videos and stuff like that on personal accounts from Loose Fest and stuff like that. Like, it was all withheld until like the highlight reels and stuff came out at the end.
You're
6
probably
months
right.
later.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's social media. Everyone wants to see it now. But like, I guess what I was getting at with like the direction that I see it going, we all saw like I don't know if I say we all saw, but did you guys see the free ride fiesta that they had in Mexico where they ran those real big jumps, free ride kind of comp?
Yeah.
You didn't see that, Darren?
No, I don't think I did.
So they basically did like a fest series kind of thing. It was like, as a trail builder, it was kind of a little bit kind of weird to watch because there was huge spaces between their jumps and stuff like that. There was like a lot of dead time, but it was the first event. It was the first event that they'd ever done, and that just shows that there are other people willing to do these kind of events. You don't need to be like, fucking the OG free riders to have the name for yourselves to be able to get the sponsors on board to do it. Now that it's got the traction, people want to see it, then there's going to be so many people that are going to come up and do this sort of thing. And I think that's the direction that the sponsors are going to go, because that's where the content's going to be. People that are wanting to have the publicity and stuff around it because they need the money to produce the event, whereas those guys just want to have a jam with their boys and they want the sponsors to pay for it. So
doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it just seems like it's trail salt. Straight up.
It is. It's BMX. Like,
yeah. I think it's like Fest Series or like Big Air or like whatever you want to call it. Is like the discipline of mountain biking that it's like more similar to slopestyle, or it's like the same way that people watch X Games or something like that, where you're like 99.9% of the audience that are watching people do these big jumps are like people watching slopestyle. It's completely unachievable. Like, it's just like, holy fuck, that is the craziest shit I've ever seen. Whereas like cross country racing or downhill racing or anything like that is like more of a discipline that people get behind it because they can relate to it. Like, you can go ride a cross country bike, you can go ride a downhill bike, and you're gonna probably be able to ride like
the same stuff that they're riding.
Like, everyone can ride the track. So I think like, just, I don't know really where this is going. It's like a suspension story, but
but yeah, no, I think I get what you're saying. But it's well, actually, no, I don't get what you're saying.
I'm just like,
it is like, I think Semenuk said it the other day. Like, people don't look up to him to ride like him. Like, there's very little people that look to like ride like Semenuk.
Yeah.
But then like anyone can kind of go and try and be the next Brosnan or something. Like, it's a lot easier to go to a downhill track
and just try to get faster.
I suppose maybe where I was going with that is like literally like the discipline that it is. It either has to be a spectator sport where, like Crankworks, you can have thousands of fans come and watch it there live in action. And if you're not going to do that, you have to create content out of it. Otherwise, how are you going to how is it going to be profitable for any brand?
Yeah. Well, it's like,
like,
I guess it's kind of like what, Formula One and stuff like that, which has been talked about with downhill so many times, where they compare the two and they're like, even if people don't ride downhill, they buy an iron horse because someone's on an iron horse. Like, people buy a Ferrari because there's a Ferrari Formula One. Like, you can't buy the fucking Formula One, but you can buy that brand.
Yeah, you gotta wear Troy Lee because Troy Brosnan's wearing Troy Lee.
Yeah, and it's just like, and someone that is, and it just has to be like, someone that is riding really fucking well that you idolize and they look good in the stuff that they're wearing. And it's as simple as that. It doesn't mean that, you're putting it on because you think it's going to make you the fastest rider. It's just what looks cool. And if that's the fastest person in the world is running that stuff, then that person looks fucking cool. Like, and that's what it is for like slopestyle and those jumps. Like, the shit that they're doing is fucking insane. So you're like, yo, like, I just want to be a part of the cool crew.
It's kind of funny though. Like, if you look at the blogs and then the vlogs and then the main races and stuff, you can compare that to F1 now because they just did that Drive to Survive series. I don't know if you've watched it.
Yeah.
Which is sick. I love that series, but you'll never watch me you'll never find me watching an F1 race. I'd rather watch paint dry. Like, it is the most boring thing in the world.
Did you just say you'd rather watch paint drive?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
With a V?
Yeah.
I had so many drive to survive drive. Yeah, but yeah.
I listened to that the Tani Seagrave episode on Andrew Needling's podcast the other day.
Yeah.
And she talked about like the whole vlogging thing at races and like just how much people like to see what's going on behind the scenes. Like there's probably so many people that would watch her behind the scenes, Instagram stories or vlogs or whatever from a race weekend that probably aren't going to tune in and watch 3 hours of a live stream.
Yeah.
But then they'll probably give a shit for putting up fashion stuff.
Yeah, well, maybe, but fuck those people.
Yeah.
I guess, okay, so like circling back to what we started talking about with the whole vlogs thing, I think the moral of the fucking story, then what does it matter? As like literally like you do not care what other people think as long as you're happy with it and that there are people that are interested in it. Like, even if there weren't people that were interested in it and you're happy to just put it out, if there are people that are interested in it, then that's a fucking bonus. If there are people that don't like it, then they can go and watch something else. Go and put The Simpsons on. I don't care. Like, fucking, I don't know, do something else. It doesn't matter. So
it's all good and well to say though, but like I know for myself that's like a massive mental block to just be like, I don't care what other people think. It's like the whole time, like there's so many kids that are like, I don't give a fuck, but like the real reason they're saying that they don't give a fuck is because they genuinely actually give a fuck.
They really care. Like deep down, they're like,
really care. And I'm only saying that because I've like been there and I've been that kid that's like, I don't care what people think, and it's like. At the time, I think that's what I really thought. But now looking back on it, knowing what I know now, I'm like, I was just saying that because deep down, I really gave a fuck about what people think. So it's like, you've got to, I suppose, get over that mental hurdle before you can just go putting whatever content out there. But I think like, to come back to it, like now, if I was going to go put a vlog out, like, as long as I'm happy with it, then I think I'd be comfortable to do it. But if I was to just go out and do like the classic fucking talking to the camera, like, hey guys, we're going riding bikes, like,
hey, can I put a request in?
Yeah.
Well, I honestly don't understand the vlog world just yet, but I really don't want you to have your like title in all capital letters with like 4 exclamation marks at the end.
Oh, that's what you got to do though.
I'm going to do that for my first one, just to piss you off.
Do we, like, is that like a thing, like you have to do it so that it catches attention? But like, because as soon as I see that stuff, that does make me cringe a little bit when it's like, the biggest jump ever! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark.
That's what that
like,
wants to read.
A little bit.
10 or 12-year-old kids are just going to be like, oh, it's the biggest jump ever! And they're going to click on that one for sure.
It's the 10 or 12-year-old computer that reads it. Like, it reads, like, all the data that you put in your video. And, like, whether your, like, thumbnail has capitals, like, if there's a face in your thumbnail, like, it goes through and, like, finds everything. And
so we have to do capitals.
Yeah. It's, like, number one.
Have you watched capitals?
Yeah. It's, like, a whole thing. It's insane. Yeah.
I'm going to write mine in Russian.
Nala's looking at me just go off topic for a second. Nala's just wandered out of bed, picked up a ball, and she's just sitting at the other end of the room with it in her mouth, just looking at me. Very hopeful.
Have you any of you watched, we'll finish the vlog stuff off now, but have any of you watched the Rob Warner vlog stuff?
I think
go watch the jet ski one. It is next level.
Jet ski. Is this like is this still like the jet ski that fucking Deeks and Brendog and fucking Odub were talking about that they were going to get after Rampage?
So Ollie actually bought a jet ski with his YouTube.
Why? Why in the UK?
because it was 750 pounds. But the ending of this vlog is honestly like one of the best things. It's completely unscripted. He doesn't mention it in the title, but it is one of the best things I've ever seen. Like you couldn't plan it. The one where so they go from like the mainland to the Isle of Wight via jet ski, and it's like Rob Warner. Rob Warner's.
Oh, okay.
And O-Dub has one. Yeah. It's like a 4-hour jet ski trip across like gnarly. It's dumb, but like some of the stuff that happens in it is next level. It's fucking hilarious. So you got to watch that.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Now speak.
Hard to differentiate between Jai.
No, speak.
Not having a bar of it today. Oh, yo.
Can't hear. He's got headphones in.
Alright, we're back. Sorry.
Well, she's getting restless, and I'm getting hungry. And Jai wants to go drink beer and look like The Rock.
Mate,
you cut me off here. I'm not going flat this time, and you're just going to fucking cut me off.
Well, what do you want to say? Like, are you going to promote your fucking new vlog?
Yeah, what's your vlog
like
channel going to be called?
Yeah, you're going to go Baxter Baywell.
Getting Maywild?
Fuck,
Baxter getting Maywild.
I'm definitely not calling that.
Baxter in the Maywild.
I've already got a YouTube channel, so it's probably just going to be my name.
Real.
I'm not.
What is your name?
I'm not going to joke. What's my name?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, I just want to get it out there for everyone to know.
My name is Baxter Maywell.
And what's your Instagram handle?
At Baxter_Maywell.
And what's your phone number?
0426969699. We text that number the other day, and it's a real number in Australia. And I thought like I texted it, and I just said, like, I was quite polite actually. I said, "Hey, I'm sure you get a lot of dickheads like me texting you all the time, but what's it like having this phone number?" And they just never replied. Like, I thought I was quite polite about it, but apparently it's not very good. Maybe they don't come through. I don't know.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man.
Maybe someone's bought it.
Maybe it's just in a phone of someone who's, I don't know, doesn't like phones. They don't know how to use it or something.
Crack up. Well, anyway, this has been a fucking fantastic podcast. I've had a fucking great time.
I forgot we're on the podcast a lot.
I was going to ask some questions.
We've been going for a while.
2 hours.
Yeah, it's 2 hours and 11 minutes and 49 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those glasses have not been worn enough throughout that time.
Wear them for the whole wrap up, Jai.
Yeah. I'm not going to pull anything out of that drawer.
You look like some dodgy stage manager that's going to be at like some random glam rock gig, just dealing ecstasy to underage kids.
I fucking love glam rock too. Like I used to listen to it all the time, and this is good for anyone out there. Listen to the Hot Rod soundtrack on Spotify. It is fucking fire. Have you guys seen Hot Rod? Both of you?
No.
If you haven't, what you haven't seen Hot Rod?
I think I have. I think I watched it with you, Jai.
Yeah. Sandberg. Why can't I think of his name right now? No, Sandberg from fucking.
I think it's Adam Sandberg.
99.
Brooklyn.
I don't know.
Brooklyn 99. Why can't Andy Sandberg? Andy Sandberg. He's the lead character at Hot Rod. 100% go and fucking watch it if you have not seen it. Everyone outside is yelling at you guys for not watching Hot Rod. I'm pretty sure I've watched it with you, Baxter. But his other movie is Popstar.
Oh, I know the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you said, "What the fuck? Why haven't you seen it? We're watching it." You sat me down, you strapped me in, and you made me watch it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I did the same thing to Todd when he was working in Medina as well.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, so yeah, that soundtrack is fucking fire. I'd recommend putting it on at work. It's good.
Should we
I'm gonna put it on in a minute. Can we put it on like in the intro, Darren? Can you put on like one of the tracks?
I'll
Put it on
try.
in the outro.
I'll put one on the podcast, but I can't on the video.
Okay.
Because copyright.
Yeah.
YouTube.
What were you going to say? You wanted to ask some questions. Oh, wait. Actually, no. I have a question before you do your wrap-up questions.
Yes.
So, I have an idea that I'd like to pitch.
Yeah.
You know how, like, at the start of every podcast, you're like, grab a water, grab a wine, grab a beer, grab a water, grab a wine?
Yeah.
You should do a review in every podcast where you just discuss as a group or as two people, that's still a group, I guess, a selected beverage, whether it's a water, a beer, or a wine, and you talk about that specific brand, and then that's the drink of choice for that podcast.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So, for instance,
Mount Franklin water.
Let's talk about the handcrafted Stoke that we have here. Ooh. Hazy juicy pale ale from Nelson, New Zealand. It's fantastic, and that's all we need to talk about. So, anyway, moving on.
Is it as good as VB or West End?
To be honest, it gets you a little bit more lit. It's definitely got more flowers in it. And you look a little bit more posh when you drink it too.
Especially if you got fucking so sunny.
Yeah, 100%. Well, to be honest, I look way more like an enduro rider than a fucking like park rat right now. So I look like I've just spent a huge day on the trails. I've done about 60 Ks. I've just like cruised down to the brewery. I had one beer and then I bought a 6-pack because I liked it so much.
All right, Darren, let's get these questions through before Jai's too drunk.
I'm not even drunk.
Not yet.
Yeah.
No, we got another one beer to go.
You finish that carton off. What have you been listening to lately? Like music-wise?
Baxter.
Lately, I've been listening to The Descendants, and I've been listening to what else have I been listening to? I've been listening to a lot of podcasts lately, actually.
Really?
Yeah, fair few mountain bike podcasts, some Gypsy Tales podcasts, a lot of Joe Rogan, and one from this podcast company called NPR called Hidden Brain. And they just spit heaps of facts about how your brain works. It's been pretty interesting. There's someone who's hit my brain against the side of my skull a bunch of times. Music-wise, though, yeah.
Oh, I've unplugged.
Descendants and probably a lot of Neil Young as well.
Neil Young. There you
go. Yeah.
How about you, Joe? The Hot Rod soundtrack.
I haven't listened to the Hot Rod soundtrack in quite some time now. I had to actually go on Spotify and check out like what my recent listening was, because I think I've been pretty freaking lazy with like finding new music lately. I just haven't really. I've just had so much going on that I haven't been listening to music as much. And then my new job means that I'm working with people and I have to actually talk to human beings, which is fucking woeful. It means I can't just fucking. Yeah, you have to communicate. It's fucking ridiculous.
This afternoon, Jai, I listened to the Groggins for about 3 hours. From when you sent me the thing until when we started the podcast.
Oh, really? Hey,
when we started waiting on Skype.
Don't say that out loud. I was like, bro, I'm sending you this. Don't use it for anything because I'm planning on using it. And then you announced it on live radio.
You could have just sent me a song because you liked it, man. You didn't have to have anything in mind for it. You're the one that's just fucked that up for yourself.
Yeah, I want to use it for an edit. If anyone else uses it, fuck you. You're fucking dead. That's my song. And I'll call you out if you use it. But what have I been listening to? I guess not so much lately, but I was really pumping a lot of Anderson .Paak. Really fucking getting into that kind of like jazz hip hop kind of vibe has been really fucking pleasant. A lot of Mac Miller and just pleasantness. Which has also been quite difficult for trying to find songs for edits because it doesn't really work for an edit. It's just been like peace and quiet. Podcasts. I listened to actually like Steve-O.
I
listened to his.
Yeah, his one's real sick.
I thought it was good, but the fact that like they're only like 38 minutes long and they've got about 8 minutes of ads like crammed in the middle of it, it was making it a bit difficult because I was like, every time it felt like a story was getting somewhere, all of a sudden podcast done, and I'm like, damn it. So this is why and especially because I'm listening to them at work, and for a lot of the time I've got like hours to kill to listen to a podcast. So for me, I like these long-winded podcasts where you just talk shit for ages and you find out more information. But I listened to the one that he did with DOC, and like that sounded like that could have been some really crazy stories about NWA and Aftermath and Death Row and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, dude, this is going to be sick. But everything was just like, you just got a little taste of everything. Same with like the Mike Tyson one. What else? I guess. And then there's like typical fucking like just punk rock kind of stuff. And a bit of Triple J Australian music in the mornings over here, which has been pretty pleasant. Spend like an hour making my breakfast and listening to Triple J, which has been nice. But yeah, that's about what I've been listening to, I think. Same. Yeah. And I've still got one song that I'm like saving for an edit that's just I think I was talking about it on that there was like Chillin' It, which we talked about ages ago, and there's one song that's just like cocky as fuck. So if I'm going to use it for an edit, it has to be fucking mind-blowing. So I'm just like trying to save it for something sick. So I still listen to that song a lot.
Just got to dress like an Eshe when you do that edit. That'll be sick.
This is close, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you own Frankston? Sick.
Yes.
Have you been watching anything rad?
Nah. Not particularly.
Yes. Actually, two things. One, I watched last night, which I haven't watched in quite a while, was Midnight Gospel again, which is Duncan Trussell. Have you guys seen that on Netflix?
I don't have Netflix.
So, Duncan Trussell, I feel like I'm really fucking winding this out, but he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast quite a lot, good friend of Joe Rogan's, but his dad is like a real big acid tripper and his mum was like a psychologist. So the two of them like merged together and created this fucking really kind-hearted, like super smart, like really cool fucking person that is really great as a people person. And he's got insane podcasts on Spotify. But he's also got a Netflix series called Midnight Gospel, where his podcasts have been turned into an animation. So you're watching a show while it's still just like two people just having a conversation. And that's really fucking cool. So I watched that last night. And then my girlfriend got me into a game called The Last of Us. And that's basically a movie about a pandemic happening and fucking like a virus taking over the world. And that was like... It was basically like COVID, which was kind of pretty surreal. Yeah, so that was fucking insane. So we just finished that the other night and downloaded The Last of Us 2. So I'm going to play some more video games while it's fucking winter and there's not really much else you can do after 4:30 over here. That's basically my life right now. But yeah, it's about what I've been watching.
Here's a short question.
Yep.
Like you're only allowed to say 2 words, but who should have won the real MTB video contest?
Brage.
Brage.
There we go.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, but
Brage.
I said Brage.
Brage.
I said Brage.
Brage.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Brage or Brage?
He won the fan favorites though, which is sick.
Yeah.
It's really hard to come in without like a biased view because I understand the whole seminar. Okay, now I'm getting into a fucking long tangent like it was supposed to be a one-word fucking answer. I can't help myself. I feel like I've been the quiet one in this podcast for the most part this time. Maybe we'll see.
No.
Fuck.
It's like you turn off when you're talking. Just forget.
John says like 20 sentences and thinks he said 2.
Yeah.
100%. I feel like I've maybe said a paragraph this whole podcast.
Grammar, maybe.
But what I was going to say is it's hard to look past Seminarch because like what he does is insane on a bike, but we're so used to seeing it all the time.
I think that like the only reason Brage's one didn't win from like a a professional point of view is that like Seminux one was constructed so much better. Like the filming was way better, the editing was way better, like, and on top of that, the writing was fucking bullshit. So I think if Brage had have had Rupert Skywalker film his,
yeah.
maybe he would have won, but also maybe it wouldn't have been as impressive because I think, like, for me personally, a lot of the draw to Brage's one is how raw how raw it is. Like, you can just see he's just like giving it his fucking all. Like, whereas Seminux one, like, everything looks effortless.
Yeah, it was insane. I couldn't believe that. I remember when I saw the names come out for like who was competing, and I was surprised that he got an invite to compete. I was like, fuck, there's no way he's going to be able to compete with those boys. Like, it's going to be a fucking shit show. And then seeing his edit come out, I was just like, I don't know if that was like maybe the fire in him as well, because like, you know, you're going up against such big fucking competitors, and he's like, well, I got to fucking step it up. Because that was insane. I didn't see it coming. Like, that was fucking cool.
Yeah.
Best thing I've watched in a long time.
If we're going to talk about things I've watched, that's probably the last memorable thing that I think I've watched. Insane.
Yeah, that and that Chris Kyle edit. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that was pretty sick.
I've been meaning to watch that.
I watched it. I thought it was cool, but
not really a style.
It didn't quite hit the mark for me.
wait till you see my edit come out.
Yeah, I just think they hyped it up too much.
Yeah, I did see it fucking everywhere, which did make me want to watch it. But yeah, it was fucking everywhere for sure.
It's Red Bull.
Once you've like seen everything, then like once I watched it, I was like, oh, there's not really much in here that I haven't already kind of seen.
Yeah,
or if you haven't seen the specific clip, like you've seen the setup already, and like then a lot of the photos of the setups. Then when he actually wrote it, I was like, oh, it's like real small.
Yeah, right.
Fair point.
Like, it doesn't look like it. Like, he's making it look like it rides good because he's a fucking insane rider, but like, it doesn't look like it actually rides. Like,
you couldn't do like a whole run down that thing.
No. It was fucking cool though. Don't get me wrong. Like, all the features they built was so creative, but I think just the way that they marketed it beforehand kind of like ruined it once it actually came out a little bit.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, I kind of liked it, but then, yeah, it just didn't flow. I did too much kind of BMX work on it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, when you're building a lip and then you screw log ends to the lip, it's kind of a bit weird. To make it look like it was dirt.
Yeah.
What are your plans coming up in the next 3 to 6 months or whenever we do a podcast?
Cool.
I am gonna do a fucking banging edit. I need to set myself a goal for that because there's a lot of tricks and stuff that I've been doing lately that I haven't really been shooting, and it would be really sick to put it all into a video, but I just want to make sure I figure out how it's all gonna work. And I've got some new jumps and stuff that we've been building that I was talking about at the start of the podcast, which I really want to fucking land that Cork 7 on the downhill bike. So I'd like to put that into the edit as well. And just fucking reveal my banger if it ever fucking happens. But I want to do like just a straight out. Yeah, I'll call it out because I've tried it so many fucking times.
You got a girlfriend last time that happened, so I mean 720 is pretty easy, right?
But yeah, so that's my plan. I want to do a proper fucking big banging edit where I use that fucking Chillin' It song and make it just fire. Because I've never done a jumps edit really, other than like the fucking one edit that I did with you, Baxter, at your trails that day.
We didn't really do that on purpose either.
No, that was just like a cruising little thing. So I've never done, a free ride kind of thing. So that's my big fucking goal at the moment, is to put a fucking sick clip edit out on probably Pink Bike or YouTube or fucking something that's more like a 1 minute edit to like a 2 to 3 minute thing. That's my biggest goal at the moment, I think.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, pumped on that.
Look forward to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be keen as on that too, Joe.
Sure.
Yeah. I think in the next like I want to try and get this YouTube thing off the ground and learn how to do that. And then I don't know what else I'm going to do. I'm probably going to do a bunch of digging over winter and try and build a few things to film in spring/summer. So I had a few specific setups that I want to try and get built in Tassie. Don't have a spot for them yet, but I'll work that bit out. And then just keep on top of my training that I'm secretly doing.
Yo, sneaky boy.
Are you going to do gym vlogs?
So the goal with my training has always been to train heaps, but make it appear like I'm doing no training. So then you rock up to a race and people think you've not been training, and then you ride real good.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I want to try and have a much better result at national champs next year. So I'm just doing a lot of stuff to point me in that direction, I think. And then a few video projects. So build a few things for some stuff and try and get this YouTube thing off the ground. See how that goes.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah. I've always just not trained and appeared like I don't train. I found that the easiest day.
100%, I did the same thing.
Yeah, it's so good.
I've done that too, but then I'm like too competitive to rock up to a race and not be able to ride how I want to, and then I'm like, fuck racing, this isn't fun. And it's like, actually, you just didn't enjoy that because you rode like shit because you're unfit and not strong, and then you get strong and all of a sudden everything's fun.
Yeah, I dig it. It's cool.
Dang.
Brad, sick. That was a good 2.5 hours.
Fucking
Yeah,
hell. Is that the longest podcast yet, or what?
Sorry?
Is that your longest podcast yet?
Yeah, I think second to our last one.
How long was our last one? Our last one was only like an hour 40.
Yeah,
because the battery went flat. Yeah.
And I feel like I average about an hour and 40 on my own too.
But it feels like 20 minutes.
That's pretty good, 2.5 hours. I'm pretty hungry. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking hungry, eh? Well, it's fucking 9:30 here, and I've literally got like 45 notifications because everyone's out drinking and partying, and they're like, "Oh, where are you?" And then Lindsay just said, "Jai's still recording a podcast." So yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm not going to eat any food. I'm going to go straight into it.
Yeah, well, you just get lit easier.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
7 o'clock here, so I'm going to start with that. Brad, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks again for having us on.
Thanks for finally freeing up a schedule, Baxter.
Yeah, I've really changed my plans around for you guys. You should feel lucky.
Oh, this is like the 4th time we've rescheduled for you.
I'm a busy man.
I'm at a gig right now. That was the best message I've ever received.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I was like a bit sick, and then I was busy, and then I forgot, and then I got offered some things to do that I've been trying to tee up for a while. So, but then I had to work today anyway, so I was like, either go up tonight or go up in the morning and do the podcast. So I'm going to go up in the morning.
Yeah, I'm glad we got this done. That's sick.
Yeah, so good to catch up.
Yeah, fucking
Always
good yarns.
Can't wait to see your vlog.
Yo.
Yeah, I'm going to film my first one tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, so, hi, this is Baxter Maywell. Welcome to my channel. Like, subscribe.
I'm going to have to do some things I want to do. Nala, would you?
She's over it.
Yeah, she's like, fuck, these guys are waffling on. All right.
Let's wrap it up.
See you guys.
Have a good night, guys.
See you in the future, motherfuckers. Sure.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to that episode. I hope it was a banger. Heaps of fun to record with those guys. We finally got it done after a bunch of mistiming, people forgetting. Apparently someone got drunk. Anyway, thanks to Canyon To Up Bike Co, Franked, NSDynamics, and Dirt Surfer for making this podcast possible. Don't forget to use Beyond the Tape over at manscaped.com or any of the previously mentioned sponsors to get a bit of a discount. 20% over at Manscaped at the moment. Now, I know Jai and Baxter said they needed the piss, but apparently they just went over and gave themselves a trim during that break. They use that new lawnmower from Manscaped. If you want to know any more, jump over to manscaped.com. If you want to know any more about the products, again, jump over to Franked, Canyon, NSDynamics, Dirt Surfer, and To Up Bike to go and get some rad products and support this podcast. Thanks so much for listening, and don't forget to share it amongst your friends. Let them know how this podcast is going. Let them know what we talk about and get them to subscribe, like, I don't know, do whatever else. Let's make this thing bigger than COVID. Until the next one, thank you.